No,
Yeah.
it's easy to make. No, she's racist.
Carrots actually have pretty high sugar content and they're not advised in quantities.
What are you talking about?
Carrots, they have high sugar content. They're actually not that healthy.
What? Steve, it doesn't work like that.
It does.
It's not refined sugar. Your body breaks it down properly
Relatively
and
high.
puts it towards good things.
It's
And
gonna
if
fuck
you're,
with your glycemic index.
yeah, but if you're eating a healthy diet, it doesn't matter if you're intaking that much sugar. If you were eating a bunch of junk food too,
Well, you should be trying to minimize your sugar intake as much as possible. I'm not saying I'm going to do that ever. I'm just saying technically that's the way. According to Ray Kurzweil, anyway.
Okay, yeah.
But there
What's
will
that?
be.
That futurist,
Like,
futurist
it
award.
I mean,
really is
you
something
said
that
carrots
will need
aren't
to be
that good
considered.
for
Well, I
you.
was just considering that in relation.
You know what's the best for you,
You've got
carrots?
three
Like,
candidates selected for
wrote
this
this
right
book
now.
Like,
with
if you
the
were
diet of a
starving
scientist
and you wanted the most
This is
nutrients
technically
per
carrots compared to
amount
other
of
vegetables
fullness,
have a higher
yeah.
glycemic index to them.
Sure.
You can change that.
Because they
We're
are
about
and
to
they've
start
got a
though.
lot
I'm
of like
thinking
all the other
if
things
know.
that you do.
But
Yeah,
I'm just
I don't give a
researching
fuck.
that.
Vitamin K?
I'm about to turn off the light,
Oh wait, that is.
and I'll need you to have the cell phone on.
I feel like this
Oh,
is yours.
okay.
Is
I was using
every-
it to research.
Did you
Guys?
have that?
Is everybody ready to go?
Sticks, sticks, sticks.
Yeah?
Why do
I just need like a full affirmative from everybody because I'm going to turn off the light in a second,
Yep, do it.
and then we're going to start this.
That was
Okay?
Oh my god, I need to
Okay.
tell
That's
me.
my thing, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, inspiration. How much did we have? Who wrote that
Oh
down?
yeah. Who wrote that down for the group?
We had a million. I
Dave,
don't
that was you.
No, it wasn't.
Wasn't that your job?
No,
No, that was Steve's job. Was that a Steve job?
That was a Steve.
Inspiration?
That was a Steve
Steve,
Jobs.
it was at least 8, I know
Steve
that.
Jobs.
At least
This
8.
was 20.
Might have been
We
20.
had 20.
Come to think of it, I seem to remember 35.
What's it say?
Yeah.
Two.
Quite a
We
bit.
were
I
very
erased it
inspirational.
For some reason.
I'm going to say you're at 5.
Yeah,
Yay!
5 or 6.
5.
Or
You're
7.
at 5.
10.
Or 9. Or 10. We're helpful.
Yeah. Your stuff look in my drink.
Yeah, that looks like dehydrated vegetables from noodle cups.
No, it's dehydrated fruit. Similar. It's pretty much the same.
No light for use.
Yeah.
And we're canceling
I
chair
saw
that
that.
I'm about to sit on.
That's the way it should
dude.
go.
We forgot to roll that joint in the gold paper.
Well, it's never too late.
Is the other door closed, by the way?
Yep.
Thank you.
We'll do that.
Last we left off with the heroes of the Green Star. They had just recently jumped through the portal found in the spaceship, embedded in the mountain. The portal that was leaking out dark necrotic energy out into the land, turning the land causing the dead to rise again and to hunger for the flesh of the living. Hundreds of years of a problem unsolved until you came along. But it came at a heavy price. You jumped through the portal, throwing all caution to the wind, some suicidal, some heroic. You blasted the Dragonstone's energy and collapsed the dark portal from the other side, healing yourselves, but then trapping yourselves on the other side in the negative energy plane. It is void. It is nothing in all directions. You can see barely your own hands in front of your face. Those with dark vision can see just the immediate 30 feet around you. You can see just in the very barest black and white, like grayscale images of your friends who are all wearing that same shiny armor with the weird horns, all the different customized horns. You've taken a breath. You feel invigorated from the blast, but you're scared. You understand that you can fly around by sheer force of will, but there is no direction in which you can go. Ness, holds her holy symbol tightly. She speaks a small prayer under her breath and asks for the guidance of her deity, Bahamut, and then sees a light in the distance. There we go. Oh my God. There it is. Now that light in the distance is a beacon of hope. Only she can see this. She tells you about it. She says, friends, I think I see a way out of here. Follow me. You can feel coldness creep in through the armor. Armor which is protecting you from the necrotic forces of the environment around you. But you can still feel the cold. It chills you to the bone. There is no love here. There is no light. There is no fire. There is no heat. You, being living beings, are a lighthouse beacon in the darkness, and you can feel the hunger and hatred for you coming from all directions, but especially from the opposite direction from where the light is. You feel it behind you. You all face forwards, all face towards the light that only Ness can really see, but she guides you along. Before we go any further, I'm just going to start this.
How's your dragon?
He's dead.
Is he dead?
We haven't got there yet.
What is that blinking light under the table?
Yeah, somebody's blinking light on the table.
Don't worry about it. Oh God.
That's creepy.
Oh.
Just as the group surges forward, you hear a choking sound beside you. Those who has dark vision.
I do.
Yeah.
I think I do, but I
Yeah,
can't.
halfway.
Yeah.
Everybody but Ness. Ness,
Yeah.
you can only
Yeah.
see the light in front of you.
Yeah.
You can only will yourself forward and hope your friends can see you and follow you. You cannot see anything else. But you hear, all of you, choking, gasping for air, chortling sound. Garrix is choking. He can't breathe. He has no protection from this plane. It is draining his life away. He takes 16 points of necrotic damage.
Shit.
What do you do?
I look towards Ness and we can communicate through the helmets, right?
You can talk very easily with each other.
I say, Ness, it sounds like your axe is dying. How far away does this light appear to be?
All I know is I see the light, and we must go. I will heal him. I will try to keep him alive with my power, but you must bring him to me. I cannot see you. I can only see the light.
Thank you. And
He takes another 16 points of necrotic damage. What do you do?
oh shit. You're far away.
You guys
I've
haven't
stopped. I've
you-
stopped. I've
You
stopped.
haven't started moving because Garrix can't move or do anything. You can either leave him behind
Okay.
Right,
or
you
deal with him right now.
Can I tell direction of voice and such?
Yeah, like this, basically.
We can.
Okay, I'm gonna start speak. I will attempt to come to you.
He takes another 16 points of necrotic damage. How many hit points does Garrix have?
Not that many.
How many hit points does he
He
have?
has 42.
He has 42?
Yeah.
16,
Times
16,
3 is
16.
Are you saying anything? Are you gonna actually scream or anything like that at
Okay,
me?
hold on,
'Cause-
hold on. This is more for Steve.
Okay.
Steve, I want Kieran to make a wisdom check. Just a plain old wisdom check.
I forgot to grab dice, so we're just gonna use that one.
Here.
You have a what? +2?
Ah, shit, 6.
Tears well up in your face. Garrix is convulsing, even though Ness is getting quick to you. It's not in time. He stops choking. You can see with the... That's not supposed to come out.
It's fitting though.
Go back to black.
It's fitting.
Very appropriate.
We'll just, yeah. Anyway.
Can I try
His spine convulses and cracks. You hear a snap. You can see the flesh on him, even though he's choking and gasping for air. That's not what's killing him. You see his form shriveling up before you, drained of all life force, all essence, all blood, just becoming a prune, or not a prune or a raisin. And then he's no more. There's a visual that everybody can see. Spark of purplish arcane energy outlining Garrix's form. And slowly it dissipates and it kind of just disintegrates off. The dust of it just fading away into nothingness. Garrix is no longer with you. I'm gonna change the music.
Does Ness see any of this, or is she still
Yeah,
just...
well, no, you can't. Well,
That's
everybody
not
could see the visual
No,
effect
she
at the end.
Okay, that's what I'm
Everybody
asking
can
you.
see
I'm
that-
asking if Ness can see it as well.
Yeah.
Don't touch.
We'll get you a new puppy. We should really get to that light.
Yeah.
Debbie's
I'm
I
I'm
just
so
grab
sorry for
your
you,
hand
but
and
but
start
this
pulling
is,
you away.
these are dire times. We must go.
I'm speechless.
Ness takes your hand, and
Oh, yeah. I already said that I grabbed his hand, and I'm just already pulling him away towards the
Through
light.
sheer
Or
force of
towards
will, both
Ness.
the armor that you're wearing, but also the nature of the plane. Just the sheer thought of forward, of motion forward, I want to go this direction. You feel a pull, a sense of movement, but you have no real frame of reference. Oh, we're gonna need just a little bit more light. Just a second, but just a little bit. This is just gonna be because I need you guys to make some choices. There's a little bit of light. You can use your phones to see better if you need to. What I need is...
where's your pile of dice around?
Oh, yeah, over here. So just go on the table for now.
Awesome. Okay, 30-sided die. Was that a 30-sided?
Oh, yeah.
What are you shaking your head at?
Huh?
Are you shaking your head at the fact that I'm drinking tea?
Maybe one more.
Ooh, it's sparkly.
12, 10, 10, 4.
Or you have one in mind.
I didn't have one in mind. I was just trying to find a 4. It's like 2 of those just in case.
Alright, perfect.
What's the check?
Check, please.
Okay. So a few things happen at once. Where's my phone? Shit. Ah, there it is.
Okay.
I'm just gonna grab something out of my saddlebag really quickly.
Okay.
You're not going anywhere.
You begin hearing whispering in the darkness, coming from all directions. There are beings here of malevolent intent, of pure undeath, that wish nothing but for you to be no more.
Volunteer distribute.
Make a wisdom survival check. Check your character sheet. It's probably one of the last ones on there. Very bottom of that.
I got a 9.
You got a 9? Okay, hold on a second. So,
Wisdom or survival?
no, it's a survival check, which is a wisdom.
Oh, okay.
It's a wisdom if you don't have survival.
I got 12.
You got a 12?
13.
17.
Ooh, that's 20. That's awesome.
Good, because you're leading us.
Damn straight.
Okay, sorry. So Dave, again, you got a which?
Yeah.
9?
9, is that what I said?
You said 9.
Yeah.
What is your survival?
Yeah, I got a +6
5?
as well.
You got a 12?
I got 12.
Garrett's, or Gary got what, sorry?
17.
17? What did you get?
13.
And you got a 20?
Yeah.
Can you pass me some flaxseed chips, please? I'll show you my nipple.
Okay. This is what happens next. This goes to the board.
Thanks, girl.
Yeah. As a group. Make it this far. Anybody? Oh, for fuck's sakes. Anybody who's got dark vision may make a perception check.
I'm doing it.
I will present.
Oh, and sorry, to describe what happened real quick. You fly onwards, and using the guidance of Ness, with her nat 20, is very focused on the light, understands, the straightest path to it is just leading the way, and all the rest of you, even though a few of you might lag behind here and there, the overall successes of the group pick up the slack, and together you surge forward, keeping in sight of each other, and not separating as a group. Perception checks.
I got 17. 13.
Oh, right. I don't do that
Again.
because I don't have vision. I can't see shit. Except for the knife, baby.
18.
18?
18.
Okay.
Sorry. That's about as well.
You stop this silly derby face in my face deal.
Is Ness doing a perception check, or are we
Well,
just...
she can't see anything.
Oh, that's right, sorry, I'm so sorry.
That's
I
okay.
was just waiting for no reason. You two,
Yeah.
Jinx and Garen, you're still very torn up and just emotionally a wreck right now. You're sobbing inside your helmet, and you're just barely holding it on together. Maybe you're holding the hand of somebody else right now.
Yeah, we're holding hands.
Of Jinx as you go along in the dark. But you both notice, you kind of glance at each other because you're holding hands, and when you glance back, both your vision kind of cross over something in the distance, something that can be actually seen, just barely out of, maybe miles away, maybe just hundreds of meters away, but it looks like a large structure, very domed on top, very ivory. It's with your black and white vision, it's very hard to make out many other details, but just something very odd in the distance. And then now that you're picking that up, your eyes are beginning to adjust. Everybody who has dark vision at this point, while you might not be able to see that structure, you're beginning to see there are floating bits of debris here and there, just chunks of land, a tree,
Sounds better
A
than nothing,
rock.
if you know what I mean.
Sometimes a whole section of a cart or something, or just random bits. It's not garbage that's hitting you necessarily, but you can see it here and there, just things that haven't quite broken down into the nothingness. I need you all to make another survival check. This is your ability to
How
fly.
is this possible?
13.
13?
I rolled 13 3 times in a row.
Huh.
That was on different skill checks.
Weird.
Yeah, one was a +4, one's a +1.
Power
Ness is
Halloween.
winning at the survival game. She just rolled an 18.
Okay. Rick?
19.
Actually,
Oh,
22
18.
is technically.
13.
Oh my goodness. So with overwhelming success, you're starting to get your bearings, the weird zero-G pit in your stomach, the flipping of your insides, the wanting to vomit as you're flying without any sense of ground or gravity or up or down. You just see each other. That's your only reference. So without getting sick in your helmets, you all manage to get accustomed to the ability to fly, and you surge forward closer to the light. This is taking, by the way, as far as you know, hours, not minutes. This is you guys going for a long time. If there's something you want to say or do in that time, you can. If there's any R key, you're closer to the light. You can feel it's within your grasp, but there are things in the darkness that are getting closer and closer.
Where are we seeing the outline of that building coming from? Like, what direction is it
Like-
coming from?
Imagine that this has got to be 3D space.
Yeah.
It is like down in that direction, just far, far away. The
Oh,
light
okay.
is at this point. You have a feeling that it's definitely closer to the light, which is glowing, not a pale blue as I said last game, but we're going to make it this orange, kind of brown shimmer to the light. I'm going to say also at this point, this is. You realize that this portal that you're going to, I think last game we mentioned that there was a flicker in front of the portal.
Just so y'all know, that's coming from the center.
Yeah.
Like for a moment, the light that which is now very visible to you, there is just for a brief moment, just one moment, as you're all, this is the one thing you're concentrating on looking on, so I assume you're all paying attention enough to be able to see it, but there's just a brief obscuring of like just darkness. The light's gone for a second, and then it's still there.
I disbelieve. Where's the light moved to?
Huh?
No, the light didn't move.
The light didn't move. The light was just
Can I-
obscured for a moment.
Like something passed in front of it.
Yeah.
Can I do an
Floating
insight
rock.
check
It's rock.
on the obscuration of that light momentarily to see if I might understand what that might mean?
Wouldn't necessarily be insight. I'll give you just say an intelligence check. Just make an intelligence check. And d20.
Is the light obscured to Ness as well? Or
Yeah, everybody who is seeing it. Ness, who is only seeing that. But for everybody, it's as if it's like that.
15.
Huh?
15.
15 on your intelligence check.
Total, yeah.
Yeah, you have a feeling something might have gone into the portal.
Oh, okay.
Make an additional survival check.
Survival of the fittest. Bitches.
Ooh,
11.
5.
Oh my god, this is ridiculous. This die is on fire right now. 18, 22, sorry.
And for you?
Critical fail.
But I'm holding you, so you get advantage, right?
Yeah, but between all of you, you didn't make, as a group, you didn't make the pass the check together.
Ooh.
You two, as you're going along, your will. You said you rolled a 1. Your will to just be even alive right now is fading fast, and you let slip your grip on Jinx for a moment, and your ability to fly kind of falters for a moment. The rest of the party, starting with Jinx, all kind of stop and kind of turn around, from the shadows, well, from the darkness all around, shadowy tendrils whip out at all of you. I need everybody to make a Constitution saving throw.
Don't fail me now.
Fuck you, Dave. I'm alright with that. I got an 8.
8?
That's everything.
Yeah, that's what everybody.
20. 10.
Okay.
15.
Okay.
I immediately go for healing.
8.
Okay. Those who...
Ness casts light on him.
Okay, before that goes off, the tendrils that have come out start hitting all of you, start trying to wrap around your body. They pass through you as they are without form itself, mere shadow, but the essence of the creature seems to drain you a bit. You take 15 points of necrotic damage, which is halved because of the armor that you're wearing. So take 7 points of necrotic damage.
Even though I rolled a 20?
No, those who got under 13. These 3 here.
How many? Sorry.
You don't take any of the damage. You manage to whip out of the way. Same with you. You turn around
Actually,
and 7 for you.
Sorry, actually, no. You're more likely Ness would know where he is. She would cast it on her holy symbol, the light, so that she can actually see around her.
That makes sense. Or the warhammer or the shield.
So those 7, right?
Like whatever you feel like you have out, the shield might be out.
Well, her shield would be out, but she's probably holding her holy symbol right now.
Okay,
She's
that
fucking
works.
terrified of the darkness.
So she has her
and
holy
she's
symbol in
praying
her
to her
hand.
god by it right now, and she's freaked. So she casts light on it so she can see around her.
Absolutely. Okay, so you cast light. What's the radius on like 30-foot radius? So basically,
It's 30, yeah, it's just
it was
the
a torchlight?
I'll tell you in just because I had it out and I need more light.
That's gonna bolster all of us who got touched by the things.
Yay.
Need more light. 1 second. Turn on this one. Alright. These lights.
oh no, you really don't have to check it. 30-foot radius is pretty much
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 30.
unexpected. So moving on. Let's
no, it's 20 foot.
20?
And 20 foot radius for bright light and 20 foot radius for dim light. And the light's color white. Well, it could be any color you want.
This
without
is
coloring it
unnecessary.
white.
Let's move on.
Let's move on. Moving along. So the light goes out about 10 feet instead of 20, which is about what I was going to say. So it does go out. You can now see in the immediate vicinity all of your companions. The light itself does help guide the 2 of you back to the rest of the group, though all of your eyes, being accustomed to the dark vision, blinded for a moment by the sudden appearance of Ness's light spell, but it is comforting. And suddenly, the ones who are afraid of the dark feel a little bit better. And you have to make one last survival check.
17!
17?
22, baby.
22.
22.
I like the one.
13?
5.
Oh,
But that's okay. Three
we grab you.
out of 5 of you end up getting it. You pull each other forward and you enter
Friendship really is magic. God.
through and into blood.
Sorry, the voice is turned off now. Just
Wow.
That was psychologically traumatizing.
I don't feel very good about that.
I was gonna say, you're a lovely consummate story, my friend. You're
Terrifying.
the seed and everything is gorgeous.
Oh God, I just want to watch him die again.
Oh, bitch.
We'll get you another puppy.
Can you just resummon it?
He doesn't know that. That's the point. He's never died before.
Can you not see that he hurts right now? How can you be so heartless?
I'm still holding her hand.
You should hold that instead.
Is it your dick in a box?
It is.
Yeah.
Steve's dick.
So, what you come out into, I think I showed you the picture for it at one point, but you burst through the portal, and there's this immediate feeling of upside down, inside out retching. You feel like you're tumbling, somersaulting end over end. And before you can even get accustomed to the chaotic feeling, you come spitting out of the side of a black sand dune. Smash into the sand. As you all go, spitting out onto the sand. This would be a very uneven black sand dunes in every direction. The portal behind you still seems to be raging. There would be in this area, we'll say over here, just this. The howling is actually coming from the environment around you, but looking back this way, you can see just sort of a black-edged pit of darkness that if you were to cross into would lead back into that other realm. Around you, on all sides,
What?
Okay. Just say that.
Steve,
I didn't think I'd actually do it. I just wanted it to wobble a little bit to make it creepier.
Maybe I can fuck with that and make that work for you now. You see great big webs. So from this dusty plain, you're looking around and you're getting the sense around you. There's suddenly ground beneath you. You're all standing on solid ground. You pick yourselves up and you're looking around, and there is just a sandstorm of black sand just happening all around you, just torrents of it.
Debbie stifles her guns.
It's very difficult to see more than even 30 feet right now. You're barely able to see each other as you've just been spat out there. From what else you can see around you, there seems to be giant, what looks like cobwebs or spider webs, dust webs, just collected dust in giant webs that stretch from the ground and into the sky itself. These would go just straight up, strands just billowing out.
What happens if I touch one?
We'll get to that in a second. Is that the first thing you do? You guys get up and you go on over and
I'm investigating the environment, yeah.
How is the visibility? Is it dark still,
I am wearing
or is
gloves.
is there a light or what?
There's no light source except for the one that you bring. There is there is a general dim gray flat lighting to the entire place. It's a non-light that seems to sort of just illustrate everything fine. Your torches or your light spell is unneeded, though it is still a comfort.
Yeah.
But as far as you can see, even looking upwards, it just goes off into just billowing winds and very thick clouds. The air itself is very obscured by the thick dust that is billowing around, and the sound on your helmet on the front of the faceplate, almost like little grains of hail. You can tell that it's sand or something, just just hitting.
Some Mars.
Yeah. Yeah. You feel like the thing that you left behind in the void is behind you and not following you any further. You had this moment of relief of you have no idea where in the multiverse you are, but you're not dead, and it's not blackness everywhere.
Debbie pokes it with a knife.
Okay.
I actually, Nest sees Debbie going over and cries out to her, "Don't touch it! We know not what it does or what it is."
This close with a knife. Looks over at Ness, pokes it with the knife.
Okay, you're the first one to move. the first thing that you notice as you start along in this armor through the sand, it's really hard to plow through, but there's like this weird hissing sound, and you look down and make a perception check.
I'm gonna
All of
perceive
us or
so
just
hard.
her?
Just her.
Oh my god, this is the plane where everything is fighters.
Everything.
Oh, I rolled a 2, so I got a 6. Perceiving at a 6.
That's what you guys were talking about earlier.
What? What?
Nothing. Just keep going.
Can
Keep
someone
going.
who is not trapped get me wine?
Who's not trapped can you wine? Oh, Jesus. Did you want some wine yourself?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Anybody
Before-
mind if I poured myself some of that lovely Jim Beam?
Go for it.
And also help yourself to anything you want.
There's wine. There's Jameson. So Debbie, which dagger do you take out?
Your day.
I'm gonna use my black ruby dagger,
Your black ruby dagger?
which I've decided to name Loretta.
Loretta.
That's fantastic.
Loretta the dagger. She's a sassy bitch and she'll stab you twice as fast.
Danke.
This right here. Awesome. Fantastic.
I'm gonna poke that spindly bitch with Loretta.
So this is like a spider web thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. Ah, there we go. Yeah. Make a dexterity check.
Oops, I'm super dexy. The dex is a +7. And I rolled a 14. It's 21.
So 21 total? Okay. With that, Debbie takes out her new gleaming black and ruby dagger.
Loretta.
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 Thank you. Pronouncing it right.
Touches it out to the cobweb. And as soon as you touch it, you notice that like a guitar string or something, like a very thin filament, the whole thing kind of shudders the whole way up.
Well, so now we're
That
here
is
now.
awesome.
Oh,
Just
no.
a slight.
Awesome.
There's no noise to it, no real noise to it. It's
No.
just the slight shudder and seems to go all the way up.
Fantastic.
But the dagger seems stuck to the cobweb itself.
Can't get it off?
How do you want to try getting it?
Oh no, Loretta! I'm gonna yank it
You're gonna yank it. You're just gonna like grab both hands,
and pull it out.
brace yourself on the ground,
On the ground and pull it
the
out.
sand.
Yeah.
Okay. I want you to make a strength check with disadvantage.
That's my turn. Can't I be just like super dexterously pulling it out?
It seems to be stuck on there really
Don't
fast.
touch that thing.
8 and what's that one?
Not coming back.
5.
Okay, so you're yanking and you're yanking on it. You can hear her. You can see her Debbie's back as her helmet. What was your
Oh
helmet's
no, Loretta!
antlers again?
I had one broken horn, remember?
That's right. One broken horn.
She's damaged.
One real horn on her helmet. Yeah. Sorry.
15 survival check. Does Ness have any idea
We'll
what
get
this stuff is?
one quick second. Just want to finish describing
Done.
this. So,
Sorry.
you're yanking on it, and you begin to hear a sizzling sound. And this time, you're looking at your dagger, and you see that on the surface, any part that's touching the strand seems to be disintegrating.
No, Loretta!
It comes free, and half of the blade is gone.
Oh.
It's now useless except for the ruby in it. You can write it down as a broken ruby dagger.
Now it's just
You
Laura.
can hit it with people.
No, it's just Etta.
Sorry.
And
Okay, so you were making a survival check to
Yeah.
know. This is going to be, I would say, in the realm of Arcana. If anything, if anybody wants to make an Arcana check to try
Do I
to
have any Arcana? Probably not.
understand something about it.
5 to you?
Might as well. +0.
I have a +2 to Arcana.
I have a plus
I rolled an
nothing.
11.
11?
16.
I got a 5.
Arcana probably isn't one
16?
of those.
Anybody else?
11.
I got a 19.
Yay!
Nice.
What, really?
Yeah.
The fucking ranger?
Okay. But this kind of makes sense. Here's the thing with Rick. Rick is especially attuned to hunting the undead. And you're right, because that's your favorite enemy.
Yes.
So being as such, and being everything that you've been through, you feel a special tingle about necrotic energy. And you seem to feel that from what you've seen of what's happened to Debbie so far, you immediately guess that these strands are pure necrotic energy in a condensed cobweb form. So it might be the same.
Sand is just dead people.
The sand might be pure necrotic energy in the form of sand at that point. But yeah, you're beginning to notice that all of your feet, anybody who's standing on the ground, hopefully nobody's laying down, but there's a slight sizzle. The armor is holding it at bay, but you're starting to see pockmarks in the metal itself, scoring and pockmarks as the armor doesn't seem to last forever. You do remember the armor does allow you to fly, so you don't necessarily need to stay on the ground.
Oh, we can fly this
Yeah,
round.
let's do that.
Wait!
Up
That
and
is
away.
what we're doing.
I'm gonna wait till Steve gets back.
He's nice. Someone can just grab him and just drag him along.
Yeah. We're holding hands.
He's just sobbing. He's crying into his dick. I mean,
Crying into his dick.
you two together, you were here and you were here, you were kind of just observing what was going on there. You were kind of tending to the two. Thank you for playing the game instead of doing the battle royale. I really appreciate being able to do this now.
I, for one, right now, am very much digging this. So, thank you as well.
I hate it and leaving.
This is boring, guys.
Oh, what?
Oh, I wonder if Steve's got something that might actually help. So another thing to consider is that everything that's not inside your armor is not protected by your armor. Things like bags, cloaks, start to fray at the edges, begin to break down. Any normal things that are on you,
Yeah. So like our
Well-
weapons and shit too?
things that are not magical or not, well, even then, like, it's just different levels of protection. You have a feeling that it's a very caustic environment.
We should get the fuck out of here.
Go. Okay. Motherfucker, he's got a thing for this.
Steve, you got a thing for the thing. What's the thing?
What's the thing? How many things? 3?
Okay.
All the things.
Yeah, well, hovering in the air.
Oh, yeah,
We're
you're all hovering now.
Because
Yeah, grasp the
everything
holy
is
symbol
caustic and
and start
burns.
spraying to Bahamut again.
Oh, because we can fly around and stuff.
So we
Yeah.
can still
You're
fly
feeling
around.
a very
When we touch the sand or
very-
anything, it burns.
Oh shit.
Or it melts.
hairline, thin, tenuous grasp to your deity. You feel like you've made contact, but if this was the internet, you're on less than a dial-up modem right now. You are not getting through at a right speed. Something that's
2400
definitely,
baud, baby.
yeah.
Dear Bahamut.
Why would you load sexy Captain Janeway?
You've got mail. Anyway, now that you're back, okay, so everybody started flying up into the air just a little bit.
Crunchy spots.
Kind of determined
It's not
that
itchy,
the
it's sore.
webbing is
Oh,
made out
yeah, I
of
was like,
caustic
these
necrotic
are the
energy,
ones.
that the ground
Sit down.
is made out of the same. And
Sure.
after a moment,
No.
you realize that
It's easier, okay.
the sand that is whipping about in the air is also caustic. And the ticking
Oh,
is, as seconds pour on, is actually causing pockmarks on the front of the
Oh.
visor.
We gotta get the fuck out of here, bitches.
Mhm.
Let's.
There's a few
Tracker.
sounds of thunder in the
Get
distance.
us out of here.
Let's go towards the thunder. That's something.
There's-
That's more than nothing.
Well, Tracker. I don't know. Does Tracker want to do anything?
Yeah, I guess I'll see if I can pick up any traces of anything.
Roll a survival check.
Anything
This is-
to get anywhere.
Any sort of light in the distance.
19.
Nice.
You see
Off the dot.
along the ground here, starting from about here. This is from your position, kind of. You guys are just like a little bit up. You're just kind of hovering above the ground. You see that there's a set of staggered, hurried footprints through the sand and heading off into that direction.
Huh.
You hear a cry out. As you hear a multitude of these sounds.
Enemies.
The wind begins picking up, and before you can even move, little tiny creatures, winged creatures, about probably 3 feet tall, great
shoot
big
one out of the air.
wingspan, seems to be made almost of the stuff of this plane itself,
Oh, I'm gonna kill it.
and they begin surrounding you.
Skeksis.
I'm going to put them out onto the board. We're going to do an initiative now because this is
I was ready for this.
a flying thing. It makes it really complicated. So to
But we're flying
simplify
too.
it, to simplify it to say everybody is flying, you can say you do a maneuver that is up or down, but for the most part, you guys are kind of huddled together. These guys are kind of coming at you on an even plane. If you go up, they'll go up. If you go down, they'll go down. So there's no super big advantage. Just understand, though, when it comes to flying, if for whatever reason you drop to 0 hit points or you get knocked unconscious or anything like that, you stop flying and you drop. So just be conscious of how high you think you want to go.
Yep.
So for the most part, we'll consider it an
Can I ask
even
a
playing
question?
field unless you guys tell me otherwise.
How far up do I need to be aware of if I'm going to go unconscious and fall to the ground and go beneath 0 hit points? I need to know the distance. So if I'm
Well-
30 feet up, am I going to die, or is it 15 feet
Probably
up?
not. It's 1d6 of damage for every 10 feet of fall depth.
But
for
you don't
falling,
really
I
think of
think.
it in terms of d6s.
So,
For you
I
as a
mean,
character, think of like how many stories you could
worst-
fall out of. You could jump out of a second story window and make the fall. You could do it from a third or fourth and probably break
Yeah, but
something.
if you were already dying,
How much health do you have?
that's
Well,
the
that's the
question.
I would say we're probably
So
still close to
the way the rules go is if you're already
Like
unconscious,
100 feet up is
and you
maximum
hit
60
the
damage.
ground,
So if you have left
it's
60
considered
health,
just
you could
like
die.
you just lose a death saving throw automatically. It's basically really easy to kill you once you're down. So if you were laying on the ground and an enemy just went up and started just slicing
Around
you,
50
it's,
feet is where you
it's
have to
not
be really
damage at
worried.
that point. It's just death saving throw fail. Death saving throw fail. Third one, boom, you're dead. And when it comes to that, anyway, that's considered an automatic critical unless it's a natural thing like falling. And
I'm just trying to be aware so that when I plan my epic stunts that y'all are about to witness,
right.
that I can recover and not look like a smear.
What's her max
Well,
health?
And don't
What's your
forget
health
also right now that
What's your health at?
probably outside of the
35.
rate
35
like
I was
radius
saying,
of
sorry.
nest,
Yeah, around
you're
50
gonna be
feet is where
freaked
you
out.
have to be worried.
Something a little like
Oh,
that.
that thing.
Really worried.
Yeah, I'm gonna kill it.
Interesting.
Oh, it's cute.
It's cute.
Yeah.
It's cute. It's so cute. It's so cute. We're gonna get initiatives in just a second. Get ready for call later.
Look like
I already rolled mine. Right here. I need
I got so much back pain all the time. It keeps me up at night sometimes.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, this fucking
Is it
shoulder.
mostly like
Yeah.
Seem to
around
be
here?
Well,
coming
it's this
mostly from
shoulder.
one
Oh,
direction.
It's just fucked. It's like because I sleep on it because I'm an idiot. But yeah, I have so many repetitive
Is it the
strains.
deltoid or is it
It's,
connective
um,
tissues around it?
It's
Or
both
is
the
it
top and like back in there,
here?
like in this part,
Okay, deltoid. Yeah.
and then in the shoulder blade, like that area. It's fucking weird.
Well, they're numerous.
Holy shit, there's a lot of those.
Is this one of those situations we should consider holding down
fact,
the
they're
B button
already
and
dead.
running?
Maybe
Yeah, right? You know what I mean?
There.
But running where?
Well,
Yeah,
that's not trash going
Nessa's,
this way,
you
it
said
was going
Nessa's
well,
connection to her god is tenuous, but is there anything directional about that connection?
What do you mean directional?
Does she feel
You know-
this presence of her god
It's distant. It's
Just
not
distant.
directional. It's just
just
distant.
a long way away? Okay.
Trying way to a god tower.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I'm just looking for a way out.
holding up your holy symbol. I'm not getting reception. Wait.
I'm on
No,
hold.
but I mean, she saw the light before. This is another kind of foreign environment. The
Can you hear me
idea
now?
Could be,
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Just on hold listening to that music. No, really, they're gonna pick up eventually. We'll be with you in a moment. Muhammad is just out
We appreciate your prayer. Please stay on the prayer, and we'll be
Yeah.
with you as soon as we give a fuck about you. Which was never. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
That with the yeah. Great. That is ridiculous. I feel it at my fingertips.
oh, you've got all the hellish ones right now.
Oh,
There,
yeah.
Actually, which.
Right to my fingertips.
Post
Weird.
herbs,
So
Herb.
weird.
But it feels good though.
Yeah.
rich, and Hody?
It's
I
yeah.
It's
can't
just
remember.
weird how connected everything is.
Yeah.
Ah,
Okay.
that thing, yeah.
You got a knot right there. I'm just
Yeah.
working on it right now. I can feel it.
That's
So,
ridiculous.
Yeah. sorry if I'm pushing a little too hard or.
I don't even know how to feel about it, honestly.
Well,
Because it's such a weird spot.
That's where you are.
just feel it in there. So, it's right there.
It's purple.
Yeah, this kind of has a purple magical glow to certain parts of it.
Yeah, I know. That's
So
what I
there's a
do
lot
too.
of browns
Like,
around you,
myself
but
to
there
try
is a
to figure it
purple
out.
glow that is
Yeah.
coming from that direction. And it is also where the thunder seems to be coming from. But let's do this.
Let's just live here, guys.
Yeah.
Seems like a decent place.
All right, place to
Well,
be.
Quest over.
'cause
At our home.
Right under here, lymph nodes.
Yeah, girl parts. And like,
Not girl
like
parts,
everybody.
just human parts. You have lymph nodes. They're part of your blood, your circulatory system. They filter your blood. And there's a few right there. There's a few under your armpit. That's period. They're all over the fucking place, actually.
Yeah.
But like, I'm just wondering if it's possible that's not a muscle and possibly a swollen lymph node.
That's possible. I've been kind of sick the last, like not sick, but I've been feeling it coming on the last couple days.
I don't know. I'm just kind of feeling it to see if it's kind of more of a just
Okay. Debbie initiative.
All right. Thank you. You're the best.
Yeah, no worries, love.
Oh, it feels so much better. Thank you so much.
Glad you do.
All right, initiative is shit. Let's do it. Debbie, I rolled a 2.
So
Plus like 80.
Wait, plus 9.
Oh, yeah.
2 plus 9, so you
Yeah.
get 11.
Yeah,
Thank you.
but I wanted to go higher.
Rick,
7, or wait, 20.
Nice.
is it 7 or 20?
Well, I was 17 on the dice, but 20 with my
Okay.
percentage plus thing.
Jinx.
I think we should run.
Oh my goodness.
Are
Are
they?
you both shouting that out right now?
Yeah.
You can, with combat. Once we're into combat, talking will be mostly on your turn. You can spend part of the bonus action to be able to communicate stuff. So I want to be able to keep the meta a little bit down. Garen, what was
Okay.
your
13.
13?
Oh, hey, I still have my late bazooka.
Ian, what was Nessa's? 12.
Does your light bazooka still work? You still have charges left in that bag?
Okay.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I'll roll for
I still have
them.
a grenade.
I still have a bunch of those little white cold things. The little balls that I was picking up.
Oh yeah.
Cold little ball.
Yeah, I do have cold little balls. Maybe you can put your mouth around them and then you feel better. Rick.
Okay.
I'm by the way, I'm
Yeah,
bound
me.
and determined that Debbie and Rick are gonna be a thing in
Did
this
Rick?
new Rick world.
Rick World?
Want Debbie to be Rick's flashlight?
No. Rick is gonna be Debbie's bitch.
Wow.
That
Bitch.
is fucking fantastic.
Oh my god.
You guys would have the cutest babies.
Oh gosh.
Little halfling
Little
elf babies.
halfling half elves. They're gonna have the biggest chips on their shoulders.
Would that be like a quarterling?
No.
Yeah.
You kind of
It'd
like
be a mutt.
might be
The
a little
mutties.
disturbing. I'd be like having sex with a child. Like, yeah.
That's
exactly.
that's her shtick though. That she was a child sex slave. She's
Yeah.
got you. Don't worry, guy. She'll even cry out to man.
And on that note, your first combat together since you defeated Tanya. Jinx, this is not considered a surprise round for either side. So you
Okay.
just automatically, these cats have just come straight in. You saw them kind of coming at the last, you heard them before they came into view, but you're right there with Gieran at the moment, consoling him.
I guess wing wall. Oh, I shillelagh my weapon first.
Okay. Shillelagh is the bonus action, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So your bonus action, Shillelagh.
Oh, you know what? There's no point in that.
No?
Sorry.
Really? That was awesome.
Fuck, how do I use this one again?
Okay.
What?
While you're deciding, real
Yeah.
quick, Rick, you're on deck. You're up next.
Oh, the
Try to
magic
begin
missile one?
thinking
Yeah,
what you're going
magic
to be
missile
doing.
one, because I can
Thinking of
get.
some things.
Yeah, you can use as many charges as you want.
I think it does, but it,
And
the
then
one
it's
where I
just
did
a
it, it's
certain
a radius
for
Yeah.
the charge. Do you know how many
What's that?
charges you
The
have
light
on it?
cannon doesn't have like a radius attack, does it? It's just like one thing at a time.
The which one?
I
Sorry?
think it has
The light
seven to
cannon.
start
Oh,
with.
yeah, it's in,
Yeah,
it's
but
in a
I've
line.
used it. I've used it a couple of times, but it's like it's been.
So you can try to
enough
use it as a
time
line.
that it's recharged.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's
1d6. Oh, you gotta roll too. Oh, at dawn though. We haven't been in a dawn yet because we've been outside of like the sun planet.
No, but
I've
it's-
considered
it's
that
been
you've
many
had the
times.
equivalent.
Oh.
You've had the equivalent to one dawn. So if you had to regain charges, roll
Yeah.
roll the die to regain the charges on it.
I don't know. I can't remember if I
All right,
used
let's
it
just
in the last
consider
one
that it was
yet.
fully charged and just move on.
Okay.
Are you using that?
Yes, I'm using that.
How many charges are you
Guys.
using?
I want to use.
Is a giant zombie foreskin at all helpful? Because apparently have that.
Oh yeah!
That's
I
true.
just looked down and I'm like, what does that say? Giant!
I think you're going to make a bolt cap out of that or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or a sack.
A sec.
They just go off and.
Like I know they automatically hit, but like how many charges are you going to spend?
3.
But you can only target one.
3?
No, yeah, that's
No.
the thing. No, I can.
The way it's the wand of magic missile, right?
Yeah.
Right. You spend 1 charge, you get 3 missiles. Then for every additional charge you spend at that same time, you get an additional missile.
Okay.
So spending 3 charges gets you 5 missiles.
Yeah.
And it's 5d4 plus 5.
And they go out and.
You
like,
can pick
direct-
targets for each of
Okay.
them.
Perfect.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Individually or all in the same one, all at different ones, but it's only 1d4, so be careful where you're shooting that around there, miss.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
So you're rolling some d4s to do some damage. Can you point out to me which ones that you're
I
doing?
get.
The ones closest to you?
Yeah, just like
How many?
I have
5 missiles.
5 missiles.
Yep.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, so 3 on the first and 1 on each of the 2?
Yeah.
Okay, so roll 3 first.
Oh wait, no, 4, 5. So these guys get 2. This guy gets 1.
So, I'm sorry. Before you roll, this is getting now confusing. How many points did you
2,
tell me? 2?
2, 1.
2, 2, 1.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. So roll the first one.
3,
Plus 1 is 4.
8, 9. So 9 for that guy.
Wait, did you roll an 8?
No, I rolled a 4 and I added it to the first 4, and then
Add 1.
and
Add 1.
1.
Okay, so 9 to the first guy.
Oh, shit. That's handy.
Yeah. 1, 2.
Basically rung the dinner bell, I'm sorry.
9 to the first one. So to the next one.
4.
Total of 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
And 3 to the last guy.
And that was rolling 2d4 on that second guy. Plus 2. Okay. All right.
Standing very close together.
5. So the reaction to these howling, screaming dust creatures coming down upon you and looking like very hungry, like they just want to just tear into you and disintegrate you with their mouths. The first one to react, Jinx just grabs the new wand at her belt, the wand of magic missiles, turns around and blasts.
Zap, zap, zap.
Zapping, blasting into the chest of this one. The first one takes those 2 blasts, and you can see that there's sizable gouge marks, like whole chunks of their flesh gone as if they were made of nothing. Like there's no internal organs or blood or anything else coming out. It's
Life
as if
finds
they
a
were
way.
made out of solid dust. And so you just blow 2 holes through the first one. Both missiles into the next one go through the same hole, and then the third guy just ended up getting that one blasting at the wing. And he continues to, oh my god, we're going to do this. Let's do this. Red place, let's go. I need to next time glue everything.
No.
Glue everything.
Glue,
They just need
glue
weight
all
on
the
the bottom.
figurines, everything.
Yeah. No.
All of them. Everything.
Static board.
He wins.
Okay, so that was your action to fire off the wand. Are you doing anything else? Are you gonna use your flying movement? I think. Did you guys have the armor written down, by the way?
17. Well, sorry, that was
20.
my total.
20 was my total.
Wait. What are you guys saying?
What are you asking?
The armor.
I was asking your
Leave
flight
or-
speed.
Oh.
Of the armor. I was asking if
sorry.
you had written down the armor
did not.
and the abilities it
No,
gave.
actually, I did not. Just resistance and necrotic, I thought, and
Okay.
armor class +4.
I forgot this. So for this whole time, Ness has been able to see through the visor because it does provide you with dark vision as well. I think it's even true sight up to a certain distance.
Right.
You also have the ability to communicate with each other, and flight is 30 feet. So the
30.
same, whether or not you could go faster or slower on foot, flight is 30 feet. So, Jinx, are you doing anything else? Okay. So, next we have Rick.
I'm doing a thing.
What are you doing?
Use Morty.
I'm gonna take my zone mark cannon and I'm gonna shoot the guy that's closest there and that guy there. I get 2 attacks.
The which one? The cannon?
Yeah, I'm taking the cannon.
Okay. And you're going for which one?
I'm gonna shoot this guy first.
So this line?
Yes.
Okay. I want you to make an attack roll on the first guy.
That is a what is it? Must be Dex.
Yeah. Dex, but not your proficiency. So
Oh.
just your Dex.
Okay, so 19.
So 19. Okay. That's
You're making it worse.
that's enough to hit. Does it say it does anything else?
4d6 damage.
Just 46 damage. Okay. And that. And that. Okay, so the other 2, by the way, just do not get out of the way in time when they notice their
Although I
buddy
got
getting
to
hit by
flash
the radiant light. But yeah, you fire off the cannon and manage to get all 3 in a line. Roll your 46.
Okay, so it's
And make
12.
sure you mark a charge off of it.
18.
So they try to
24 damage.
24 damage?
Oh, 4 6s in a row. I don't even understand what this happened.
24 damage. Okay. Just set those guys back up for a second.
No, wait, sorry, 16.
They're running away from us. We're gonna be
Wait.
fine.
No, 6 times 4 is 24. Ignore me.
Yeah, 6 times 4 is 24. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 10, 11, and 12. Oh boy.
Then I get a second attack, because that's my thing now. I get an extra attack because I got that feat.
Oh. Which feat?
Extra attack. You may attack twice on any attack action.
Oh,
and
yeah,
also,
of your
because
thing.
I hit a guy, I also get to attack again.
That's something else.
That's Hordebreaker.
But
Oh,
that-
no,
no,
they have
that's
to be within
melee.
5 feet.
Yeah, that's 5 feet thing.
Specified there, right?
Okay, so Rick hears the blast of the magic missiles behind him, immediately grabs for the cannon, turns around. Yeah.
Sorry, it's just funny. Five's face is funny. I took a picture of it.
Alright. Besides looking up reference stuff, if I catch any of you guys on your phone like doing like social media stuff, I will deduct experience at the end of the game. Just putting that out there. Looking up your phones
I'm
and
using
doing
it
that
to
kind of thing,
research spells and
pictures,
things.
it's fine, but if I do, yeah.
Picture 5.
So Rick turns around like cannon, sees 3 of them burst a beam of pure radiant light, and it lights up the entire area. And there's a lot more that you can see now in the distance.
Oh no!
As you can see, you see swirling vortexes swirling by in this direction, because now you've probably turned around at this point, and you're facing this way. 1, 2, 3.
Sweet.
In one go. What's your second attack?
If I attack that way, am I going to hit either of those two?
Yeah, you can hurt your fellows with this weapon. This
Yeah,
is not
I
a
want to
fun
accidentally
thing.
shoot them.
You can't. I don't think you can really get multiple guys without getting one of your guys.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
Which one's you? That one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You
I
haven't
guess-
moved yet? Can't you move?
Because you fired.
I don't know. I guess I can move before I attack again.
Yeah, you can move. You can break up your movement on your turn between like move, act, move.
Yeah, but
Act,
can I do
move,
like
move.
attack, move, then second attack? That's
Yeah, absolutely. So where are you going for your second attack? Oh, sorry, no, second attack? No, only a 5-foot step.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry.
That makes more sense.
When you start taking your attack action, it's just like, okay, and then whack, and then whack. It's like at the same time, that whack, run, whack. Yeah.
I guess I'll hit that guy as close as I
Okay, so you turn and fire on him, roll attack roll.
18.
Yeah, that definitely hits.
5. 11.
Why? I didn't get it.
Just like what they-
And they don't want a tomato, I want a carrot.
17.
Try
18.
again, but with a carrot.
Okay, you're marking off charges?
No, but I will. That's
Yeah.
2 charges.
Yeah.
Nice shot! Whoa!
Okay.
10 points.
Blast. Another beam of light streaks
Okay.
through.
Good
Guys.
call.
Yes. So this time another beam of light blasts through this way through the darkness. Debbie, you're closest to this area here. Both you and Rick
Watch it, bitch.
You a little singed.
notice off in this direction that there are things moving along in the sand that don't seem to have noticed you yet. But like, we'll say if it was like a sand dune, it just fired this way. So somewhere over here on a sand dune,
Way to go.
you see something very large.
We're gonna see a snake
long
monster.
and just slithering along.
This is becoming Dune very quickly.
Dune with
The
necrotic.
spies!
That's your turn? Sorry, go ahead.
Did you tell us what you saw? Like where you saw? Oh, the traps are leading this way. Maybe we
Yes.
should go this way. You told
Well,
us.
once he points it out that it's like he started looking for tracks and goes, oh, I found tracks.
Seriously, hold on me.
And I did say at the beginning of combat we should fucking run and follow these tracks and get out of here. But nobody listens to me.
Of course not.
Are you doing anything else, Rick?
No.
Okay. Next is the dust methites.
What?
These
Dust
guys.
fights.
Dust methites.
Dust methods.
Yes. They're flat.
Like dust
Flat,
methods.
flat. This is all still while you're in the air. This is you turning around in midair, just blasting. The force of your blast, by the way, knocking you back about 5 feet, just pushing you back from the radiant energy flowing forward as you're not actively thinking about where you're moving. Dust methites, though, do come in and start to close some of the distance. These ones are very angry with you. 5, 10, 20, 15, 12, 20. We're going to consider that you're in this spot, so that we're getting all crowded there.
Oh no, it's
20. We can get up. It starts to circle around instead. This one circles around. This one circles in. This one circles in. Closer.
Rick is just like a stupid weapon. You know, like bazooka, a longbow, crossbow, short sword. Like way too many kinds of arrows.
Jinx. The first one, you know, its wings beating behind it comes in and claws at your face. You feel really encumbered, by the way, by this armor. Don't forget that while you're wearing metal armor, you're not able to cast any of your magic.
Oh shit!
And if
Oh,
you
so
guys
I can't
choose
cast
to do
Shillelagh.
no, and like if you guys choose to, like, you can use the magic missile one. That's fine.
Not any, or is it just stunted? I don't think it.
No, she's not
No,
supposed to be
it's all
wearing
metal.
metal at all. It kind of like grounds her, whatever, like
That's
stops.
because she's a druid, or is it
Yeah.
a magical thing?
It's because she's a druid
Okay.
specifically. The rest of you though suffer like major dexterity disadvantages to like stealth or other dex checks because you're not. Even you, because you're not proficient with this armor. This is big fucking power armor on unproficient fucking noobs. Like,
Ness is fine in it, but everybody else.
yeah, that's just totally fine.
That's the guy
Supposed
not
to
too
be
bad. I like it.
But moving on, the claws coming in. It's just one claw attack on you. That's an 8. Doesn't hit.
Okay.
The second one makes a claw attack on you. That's a 21. I believe that does hit. You take. Ooh, that's maximum. That is 6 points of slashing damage.
Balls.
That is those two. The third one near you. It's going to also do claw attack. Oops, sorry, I gotta roll the attack first. That is definitely a miss. So Jinx getting suddenly inundated by 3 of them flapping around her, claws coming at your face, and you're ducking and you're weaving, and one of them manages to get a scrape in between one of the pads of armor, and it hurts you for a moment, but you manage to duck the next guy. The next one over there, closest to Garen, is going to attack him. Fucking rolling like crap. An 8, I assume, doesn't hit you. Now the ones that are out here, this one turns towards you, and as it's flapping, it's going and blasts out a jet of that same black dust that is swirling out around you, but like in a solid jet right at your face. It's a 15.
This one?
Yeah. So it manages to get just you, each creature in the area, DC to make a dexterity saving throw. First of all.
11.
Oh, you just barely made it. So what ends up happening is, as its breath is, as it's breathing, it's blasting its breath at your face, and it's hitting the front of your visor, and you're hearing like the tick, 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 tick of like almost like hail of things just grinding into the metal on the front of the faceplate. You manage to turn away your face in time just to get most of it on the side and not obscure your vision. You feel like you might have just had a close call there. The 2 that are out here, I get to make a roll for them. That's a no. That's a no. This one is a no. That's a no. And then this one here is going to make a breath attack against you, Rick. So same thing, just reels back and burst of that black sand comes out of its lungs, blasting you right in the face. Make a dexterity saving throw.
I love that. 20, not natural though.
Excellent. Yeah, that's more than enough. You managed to get your cloak up in front of you. Your cloak, which you're now noticing, some of you might have been out of the room at the time, but all of your mundane items are beginning to disintegrate, and your cloak, as you bring it up to shield your face, you're seeing your traveling cloak is just in tatters and is just slowly eating away. It's like acid, but it's dry. It's like dry acid. That is.
Oh no, our giant zombie dick skin.
Kieran. Kieran, it's your turn. You just managed to avoid getting blinded.
Yeah.
And clawed, and Jinx is nearby you, getting clawed at by other creatures. You're all flying, kind of hovering in the air.
Just to reconfirm, using an item is a main action, right?
Depending on what the item is and what it's
Throwing something.
Throwing something as an action. Yes.
That's an action. Okay. Shit. Just trying to look something up here. Is the player's handbook?
Oh, the player's handbook?
Unless you know off the top of your head how much damage Alchemist Fire does and what the range on it is. Oh wait, here it is.
Alchemist Fire? Do you have it?
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's only. I thought it had like a range, like explosive, like spread around it, but apparently not.
Radius?
Yeah, radius, but no, apparently not. So
Oh.
in that case, I'm just gonna shout.
Do you mean like illusionary spells or anything?
No, not really. I'm just gonna play it safe and shout out to you, to Jinx. There's too many of them. We need to get back. And I'm gonna disengage and.
Yeah, disengage.
And 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Come back here.
Okay, so you fly back towards Rick.
Yeah, get behind him in his deliciously protective cannon.
And disengaging for this is just like the thing is still battering at you, and you're kind of battering at it, kind of like give it one final little smack that's not actually damaging to it, but kind of just dizzies it enough that you get away just for the second. That will be Ness.
Ness cries out to everybody, "Come close to me! I will protect you!" And sees this cluster around him.
That's Jinx.
Well, that's Jinx. Okay.
Getting surrounded by a few of them.
She gets.
Oh, so now you want to help Jinx?
Well, why wouldn't she want to help you in the first place? Is there a history that I'm not aware of at this point?
No, I think that Alvin
Killed
got a
Jinx
ship.
last time.
Oh, that shit. Okay.
Out of game.
Right, out of game, metagaming shit. Alright. She casts Spirit Guardians. So all of the creatures around 15 feet have to make a Wisdom saving throw, or fail or take 3d8 radiant damage, if given that they're evil.
What spell is that?
It's called Spirit Guardians.
Interesting.
Yeah. So. Third level.
Spirit Guardians. Yeah.
Contribution. Yeah.
You call forth spirits to protect you. They flit around you at a distance of 15 feet for the duration.
It's chickens.
If you are good or neutral, the spectral forms appear as angelic or fey.
Yeah, it's
so angelic.
Angelic. Yeah,
Um,
obviously. Little angelic dragons. Because she's Bahamut.
Aww, pretty.
She's
They
into
probably
Bahamut.
have big, droopy, like anime eyes and stuff. They're probably like
and
sparkly.
Sorry. Garen. Yeah, Garen collapses into a heap of tears again on the battlefield. It's
Triggered.
It's
Oh.
almost 15 feet, but we'll say it's just around there. So that one guy right now, well, no, sorry, that's not 15 feet. That's a 15-foot radius.
Yes.
Oh, shit. That is...
3 squares around me.
Yeah. So we'll say 3 squares around. 6.
Not third level, right?
Alright. Let's go.
No.
After we get through the first round of... Oh.
I just been on the D&D floor.
After we get through the first round of combat, I'd like us to go have a quick smoke
Well, I
break
was
and
also listening to
breather,
dog
orgy,
needs to.
and the
yeah.
dog, and then we'll get right back into it.
Yeah, his diarrhea meter's probably like.
Yeah, I wouldn't be taking this shit either.
Okay. I won't
Oh. There.
Yeah.
Do you ever see it that way though? Like, there's just like in The Sims, there's just like this meter that's slowly filling up, and this is like when it reaches the end, he shits on the
Every
floor.
4 hours,
Well, like
essentially.
in
Yeah.
South Park, the stick of truth. You're you gotta eat things to get gas. If the
Oh,
bigger
yeah.
enemies can make you overload, then you just shit your pants and your pants like exploding.
That game was so ridiculous.
Yeah, sharks.
All the new ones out, right?
It is, which means it's gonna be cracked in like a couple days.
Fractured hole or whatever.
Fractured
butt.
Okay.
Fractured butt on the hole.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they wanted to call it the butthole at the time, but
Yeah.
then told they weren't allowed to say butthole on the title.
So he found a way. That's cool.
I did Instagram your face. I know that's social media, but I was really proud of this whole situation.
Negative 400 experience.
Okay, so it's going to take some damage, so I can make saving throws. So the first thing that happens is Ness flies over to where Jinx is being attacked by a few of those dust bites, grabs her holy symbol, holds it out, and with a silent prayer, glow begins to form from the holy symbol, and then splits off, the glow splitting off into different orbs, a couple of orbs that take then, in orbs of light that take the form of angels, of robed, breastplated, winged, flowing hair, sword-wielding angels. What's up? Anything you want to share with the class?
You're good. Sorry, my mind's weird. So, like, instead of a silent prayer, my mind is like, what if it's like Peter Popoff and she starts like acting like she's got a demon inside her? She's just like, whoa, whoa, real Lord. I was picturing that.
That would kind of be
So
awesome.
angels appear and start circling around in an area just around Ness herself, just kind of transubstantial, like just ethereal creatures that just start swirling around, and all of these guys are going to have to make some wisdom saving throws.
Yeah.
What's the DC for her?
15.
That's it?
DC 15, yeah.
Okay. What's her wisdom bonus?
4.
What's her proficiency modifier?
It's 8 plus 4 plus 3,
8.
which takes you to. Well, it starts at 8, DC 8 for a spellcaster, I believe, in 5th edition. I might be mistaken, I don't know.
Should be written.
8 plus 4 plus 3 versus 15. I've got it on the 3rd page.
Let me
I got the spell.
just let me
I got the.
real quick.
I've been waiting.
You have to pee bad?
Yeah, well, I think my turn's coming up soon, so I've been
Go
waiting.
for a walk.
Oh,
Should I go pee and then come back? Do I have enough time?
your turn is next, so let's just do this real quick, okay?
then-
And then it's your turn, and then we'll break.
Okay.
Okay, so
It is
DC
8
15.
Yes.
1. That was wisdom. So
Yes.
nothing. So straight rolls. So fail, save, fail, save. So 2 of them fail the rolls. And then one on failed, they take that. On success, they take half. So roll 3d8 damage.
Yep.
3d8 radiant damage.
Actually, can I grab another 8-sided die? Big money, big money. So 9 and 17.
9. Sorry, 17 total.
damage. Yeah.
All right, so 17 against. This one fell. 17.
Half against the guys.
Yep.
who-
17. Half of that being 8. 8.
That's radiant damage, right?
Yes, it's radiant damage.
and This one. So soon as this begins to happen,
Only
the angels are swirling around. I believe this is concentration too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, up to
concentration
10
up
minutes.
to 10 minutes. So,
So once you have this going, it stays out around you for the whole time.
oh yeah.
So Ness's angels, the angels of Bahamut, they don't just look like, the Christian angels, but have like reptilian forms. They look like silver and gold. Dragonkin, Dragonborn, which you've never seen before. The dragon people, and as they swirl around, this one, poof. This one, poof.
I
You take,
wasn't ready.
you take 1 point of damage.
Oh my god.
It
I was
wasn't
surprised that
funny.
you're like your eyes were like they're pretty much closed, and you're just like,
It's okay.
oh.
It's
No,
okay.
sure, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
I saw that in slow
popping two
motion.
more of them.
Woo, so did
Just
I.
they burst as the form. It's okay. As the form passes through them, the necrotic dust that makes them up just puffs and disintegrates in a cloud, not reforming. Debbie, it is now your go. What does Debbie do?
Here's magic.
So I've been thinking about this. I've been thinking about this a long time.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to fight.
Sorry.
Debbie wants to run.
Yeah, that's what I think we've all been yelling.
Yeah.
I meant to say actually also that after I'm holding action on the rest of my moves.
No, you can't. No,
Oh,
there's
okay.
no more holding action. You did your thing.
Okay.
So she's also kind of freaked.
Okay.
So this guy's right in front of her.
You have saved, by the way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, almost half of the group that has come to attack you in the first couple of seconds. You go puff, 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 puff. Half of the group is already dead.
I know.
Nearly now.
We don't know how many more there are out in the darkness.
No more seem to have crept up on that last turn, so if this was a hunting party, this is it. As far as you can tell.
If this was not. All right.
You have a feeling that these tiny creatures are only effective in not large numbers against any larger prey. Use this.
Yeah, thanks. I will. Thanks. Life size? So I was thinking,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty accurate.
I still got
See?
one of these guys.
But
Yeah. Where you want to throw it?
But like,
You
it's
didn't
just
come to
like
Shambhala with me.
Such an accurate
this area, like that. I was
Like-
thinking.
like
But
You want
could
to try to
I?
get 3 of
That's
them?
like
But
a
could
picture
I
of Steve's
throw
dad.
Isn't that what it's supposed to be?
And with
Yeah,
my bonus
and
action, shoot that guy.
Well, it's like it's got the same shade of pink.
Because my testicles
Your
are the size of my
offhand
phone.
shot, yes.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Because you'd be throwing with your
With my
like normal
yeah.
shooting hand.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't be getting your bonuses to the shot, but yes, you could do
I
that.
could do that.
Okay, so are you moving first to try to get up?
I was drawing a vagina, but
Throwing
I need,
is
like 10 more stick
has an
bullets.
increment of
It's
30.
huge.
That's it.
The biggest
My
vagina.
range for
10,
that
15,
grenade is
20.
2060.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So 5, 10, 15, 20. So from where you are, you can throw this far accurately, and you can throw this far with disadvantage.
Okay, so I will. Oh, that's 2 tentacles. I will move 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30.
Yeah.
I'll
You
move.
can only, well, you can fly 30.
Fly 30. I'll move to here,
Okay.
and I can still hit them with my grenade
Yeah,
and shoot
absolutely.
him. Okay. Sorry for knocking down the thing.
So you throw a grenade at those two. What's your roll to make an attack?
Have either of them taken an attack yet this turn?
This isn't considered surprise or anything else like that. It's not-
Yeah, but what this says, it says you have advantage on attack rolls against
Oh,
any
everybody-
creature that hasn't taken a turn yet this
Everybody
round.
has gone before you. You're the last one to go
Really?
this round. Yeah. Your assassinate's
Ah!
great when you get to go before everybody else, but
It's
like
my thing.
combat's
Listen, I
happened,
had
and then
to
you're
try.
like, oh hi guys, I got a
I had to
grenade.
try.
No.
Ah.
Might be worth
What
well.
what's my
This will
attack
be
bonus?
this will be your dex and your proficiency. So 4 and 3 add 7. Roll and add 7.
10.
10 total.
Yeah, I rolled a 3.
Okay, you end up lobbing it. Oh, yeah.
Yes!
You want to use an inspiration?
No, full
For a
inspired.
grenade, hell yeah.
Holy hand grenade
Okay. Oh shit.
in the box.
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah.
It's much better.
22.
22.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you managed to hit that. Can you read me off what it does?
It says undead con save DC 15,
Oh, they're not.
5d6 radiant damage. Success takes 1/2. Like if they succeed, they take 1/2 damage.
Okay, well they're not undead, so they're not going to be taking that. I don't know what that would mean otherwise, but yeah, they would. Sorry. So what's the DC?
15.
DC 15, and it's a con save. You get no bonus, so 1 and 2. All right, roll your damage.
5, 10, 15.
16. So it's 19 and one more. And 23.
23 points of radiant damage.
23 points of radiant damage.
Okay, we'll mark that grenade off your sheet. That's one grenade gone. And what was the radius on it, by the way? As you erased it, sorry. Did it have a blast radius?
It didn't say here. Sorry, it didn't
20
say.
feet.
20 feet?
20 feet.
Okay, so say something right there. 5, 10, 15, 20. We'll say you blasted over in this area.
Yeah.
See if you can get it over
I was
here.
trying to get that guy too. The
You
third
were?
guy. Yeah.
Okay, I'll
Yeah,
roll for him as well. Yeah, he managed to get it on that last one. So he'll take half of, what was it, 23?
23.
So he'll take 11 points of damage. That's this guy here. 7, and then those two. So Debbie just runs over, flies over while she's flying, grabs out the grenade that was given to her by Sanzig.
I screamed something about Sanzig.
You pull the pin.
Sanzig!
You hurl it over, and you're not sure at first, where the explosion's going to happen because there's no ground here. You're hoping to just hit it off the chest. You hit it off the chest of this one, makes contact, and then boom, a burst of radiant light just billows out just barely out of range of hitting Jinx. And these two completely evaporate into nothingness.
And
This
then
one
for
looking
good
pretty
measure,
hard
I shoot
hurt
my guy in the face.
with your bonus attack.
With my bonus attack?
Okay,
Power attack.
roll.
Oh, I rolled low.
Yeah, just so add your dex.
7.
Okay, so you're feeling very gangster. You throw your grenade out. You turn and you shoot Mark off the barrel, please.
Yes.
I want you to make sure you're keeping track of your bullets because
I
bullets are gonna,
always do.
no, because going forward we're gonna have to really scrounge where you're gonna find bullets and how to make more bullets if you have the right ingredients.
Mora already just had a regular bullet in it because it was my side hand.
Oh yeah,
It wasn't
here's
my
your offhand
revolver.
one.
Yeah.
Okay, so that completes Debbie's turn. Let's take a quick break.
Okay, I got a pee so bad.
I had a thing.
Oh.
And I just might remember it.
Gotta remember it.
Right, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
You do know what I mean. I
like
mean
to
having
crack
sex
open a
with
cold
dead
one
people,
once in a
not
while.
taking money from them.
Oh.
Just in case we need to be clear about this issue.
I appreciate the explanation.
Well, I mean, it's important that we get our semantics straight, right?
Yeah. I get this right. Where else? I mean, where else is there to go? There's nowhere else to go.
It's quite
You might
obvious.
as well go in there and take some cover and deal with whatever's in there. It's probably better than whatever's out here.
When she brings that up, can I do an Arcana check to see if I know anything about this realm that we're in? Or did we already do something like that?
I'm going to give you just a slight help on this. You remember that you have a bit of information on your person that seems to have to do with the outer plane. The outer and the inner planes and the structure of it all.
Which I did read, actually, so I would have known that.
That one. What book was it?
I think that was the Sorcerer's Journal, or the, there was
Okay.
another one.
So we're going to say that Gieran remembers that he has this on him, pulls it out, starts thumbing through. You come across this symbol, and you try to figure out where you are. You go, well, I feel like we were there. This feels like maybe out of the cosmology. That might be the place from the descriptions you find of the negative energy plane.
But yeah, that's
Well,
all
where you are
right?
now,
Oh.
I want you to make an Arcana check with advantage because you have the book.
12 and 13.
So 13 was the higher score?
Yeah.
Okay. What you're able to glean is that you seem to be on one of the realms adjacent to the negative energy plane. You're not sure which one. You don't think you're in the salt realm, but you're not sure whether or not you're in dust or... Oh, that's all right.
dust or ooze. It's ooze, ash, dust, or vacuum.
Okay.
No, salt. Sorry. Vacuum, ash, salt, dust. You're not sure. You're not on the salt plane. You're not on the vacuum plane. You could be on ash. You could be on dust. You're not quite sure. But you know. I would give you more information if you had a higher roll, but you can kind of give an educated guess. You might be on the dust plane. There's a lot more indication of that.
Okay. Well, I would let you guys know that I just realized from the symbols that I've seen in this journal that we are on one of the outer planes outside of the inner planes.
I'm shocked and appalled. Dismayed.
Does the book tell you any way of getting the fuck out of here?
I need time to do more research on it. I only had time to glance through it on this venture.
You guys would
Now
realize,
onward to the building.
you would at least realize that you went through a portal to get here, and that it's possible portals might be.
We just need to convince the dead
Or
people to
regular.
let us use their holes. This is what I'm saying. Again, not talking about
What?
going through portals, talking about fucking dead people.
That's the beauty of dead people. You don't need to convince them of anything. It's not like they can say no.
Everything is a joke about
Yeah.
fucking
No, I
dead.
got that. Yeah, that's great.
Why?
Because you're great.
You set this up. You must have. You intended it.
Okay, so you guys decide to just set off and fly towards the building that you saw briefly in the distance. Are you following close to the ground to follow the tracks to make sure you make your way, or are you just kind of flying above the ground? Like follow
I would say that we would
Closer.
stay closer to the ground.
Yeah.
Close enough to the ground that we can see what's going on, but far enough away that if anything on the ground tried to come and jump at us.
Well, this is actually mostly a choice for Rick, as Rick is the one who can track the trail. So if you want to use the trail to get through, because right now it's a sandstorm again, or rather a dust storm.
Yeah.
You're experiencing heavy obscurity, it's obscuring your visibility.
Obfuscation.
Yeah, it's better to stick close to the ground and follow the tracks. So.
Which you're also noticing at this point, they're starting to fade ever so slightly as the winds billowing around are starting to cover the tracks up. One other thing you will all notice at this point, as it's been long enough, is that constant of the dust hitting your armor. It has been constant this whole time, and you're noticing that the visors that you're wearing, the pockmarks are beginning to warp your vision slightly around the edges. You have a feeling that if you're out here for much longer, you might not be able to even see out of your helmet.
Yeah,
Let
that's what
alone-
I'm afraid of.
let
That's why
alone
I'm like
gain a benefit
so into
from your
going
armor.
to the dead place. It's not because I want all their shit.
You said put this on the broiler?
Yeah, well, I put it in the oven to bake, and then you put a lettuce leaf on the top after it's baked. It's good.
One lettuce leaf, just one.
Just one.
Just
Oh, Lord.
The Lord says if I eat more than one lettuce leaf, then it becomes the devil's leaf.
Well, I'm trapped. I might as well stand over here anyway.
You're trapped. I've
Yeah,
told
I
you
can't.
the way to get through here.
Yeah, but I gotta be close by to get my thing out.
No, it's gonna be in there for a bit. Just come back over and then it's all done. No?
So we're going towards the light, eh?
Going for a rip, huh?
Going for a rip.
Out for it.
Go for a rip.
Okay. This is on Rick.
I didn't do it.
Roll a survival check.
I'm good at finding my way.
In
I
24.
can help.
You want to assist him? Do you have proficiency in survival?
Yeah.
Okay. Then with Jinx's aid, he helps, steer you onto the path when it seems like you lose it for a second.
Okay.
You can roll with advantage.
Okay.
You already got 24 though. It's pretty
Oh.
good.
Yeah, well, I just rolled a nat 20.
Well, there you
Nice.
go. Between
Even
the two
better.
of you, you're able through the dust storm follow the tracks as they're slowly fading.
Dust storm and warping vision.
Mhm.
Now, one thing that you come across
And
in
slowly
your tra-
melting.
along the way, about I'd say you're traveling for about 20 minutes. That 20 minutes of being out here has now your vision is somewhat now reduced. As imagine glass being etched with acid, or like a mirror surface.
No,
where-
I know my glasses. I haven't been able to wear them for like 4 months. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's
but like
scratched up.
but like acid etched at this point is what it seems to be. It's becoming almost hazardous to keep it on. Through that helmet though, because you rolled the nat 20 with Jinx's help, you're not only following the trail, but along the trail you come across a body face down in the sand, mostly dissolved.
Oh, but how long would it take for it to dissolve out here? I feel like it wouldn't be that long. Who's a good forensic scientist here?
Would that be like a healing check? Assumingly?
Well, you can use medicine if you want to go see if it's alive, but what are you trying to tell otherwise?
Investigation, right?
How long it's been out?
Mhm.
Well, it's quite obviously dead if it's dissolved, right?
Yeah, it seems to be it's humanoid in shape. It seems to be wearing a lot of thick cloth. A lot of that cloth is in tatters, and the form itself seems to be sunk into the sand with a little bit of an outline along the edge that indicates a bit of the embossedness, like it was a 3D thing that is sunk into itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't look like he's deep in the sand. It looks like he's melted into the sand.
Gross.
No.
So, what do you guys do?
I want to check out the body.
Yeah, I go poke it with my not dagger, my broken
Your
dagger.
broken dagger.
Okay, both of you roll investigation.
Investigating. Ooh, I rolled a 19. What's my
Nice.
investigation?
Pretty high.
It's +2, so 21.
I got a 3.
Okay, Debbie. While you're checking out the body, you notice you're able to kind of like move some of the cloth away, and what you're able to see underneath it, at least of the skin of the creature, it seems to be wearing goggles and a mask, but there's a little bit of neck exposed, as there is a deep gash
Ooh.
in its neck, and it seems to have bled out.
Does it look like a gash from a knife or a gash from an animal?
It looks like a gash from an animal. It seems to be like just tearing, like claw marks of
Alright,
some
that's
sort.
what I'm curious. Yeah.
And you would also be able to tell that, this creature, whatever it was before, it was of very dark brown, but kind of ashy, kind of a desaturated brown.
Do I recognize
skin.
anything about it?
No, this is a very foreign-looking creature. It's all in black. It's a very heavy black robes, heavy black, like it would be like desert wear.
Does it have
But
anything?
all black and with goggles and with a mask and everything else, like almost like the fucking those guys from Star Wars. Anyway.
Any
No,
sand
not-
people?
Not the, yes.
Yeah, sand people.
Which
Say
sounds
bandits,
racist
but
even to
that's
say.
the-
Fucking George
So-
Lucas.
Fuck.
George Lucas.
That's what, but
You
there's-
We know
there
what
is
you were
a-
trying to say, George Lucas.
You ever see
There's
that
a
meme of
slow
the-
sizzle as you can see just along the
What?
edges.
Me
Your
and investigation
investigation. The body is nothing.
people.
Check the pockets really quick.
Okay, no, that's what I was just gonna get to, but I got distracted by this being hilarious. So I wanted to know if it had any metal bits on it, and if there was any sort of like indication of like, I don't know, what do you call them, like emblems or gods or fucking shit like that. You know?
What's in his pocket?
I
You're
wanna know.
gonna carefully check its pockets?
Yeah.
Okay. I want you to make a dexterity check to make sure that you're not going to get yourself dissolved too much in the process.
I'm so
As
dexterous.
you're trying to handle a corpse that is half melted and disintegrating
yeah,
on
but
the
I'm
spot.
using my broken knife. I'm doing okay. I'm like poking it through.
So make sure
14?
you don't fail. No, you're fine. So you're
That's a
able
low
to
roll
check
for
through its
me.
copy. Its pockets. You found the equivalent to. Oh, I can roll some dice.
You find the equivalent to 57 gold pieces.
Where are the gold pieces from?
It's in a sack, like a pouch.
No, do I recognize anything about the
No, they all have. Are you taking the time to look at the gold pieces?
Well,
or?
like I just mean that like I have a casual awareness of a lot of different kinds of coinage because of my
It's
upbringing.
foreign. It looks like nothing you've ever seen. It's
Okay.
stamped with heads of
Yeah, but there's
king.
no. That's exactly.
It's sovereigns that you've never seen before.
That's fine. It's not Bahamut's head. These are things that help indicate to me whether or not, and there are things that I can determine just by looking at it. I don't have to spend time investigating.
Anyway,
Anyway.
you found 57 gold. Congratulations.
Free!
Moving
Actually,
on.
I found 32 gold. Here you are, guys, for the party.
Roll a deception check.
I'm sorry?
Roll a deception check. Are you telling the party you found 37 gold?
32. I'm very deceptive. Yes, I am. Where's my 26.
Is anybody thinking that she's lying?
You all fucking believe
Does
me.
anybody think
You
she's
think
lying?
she's so
I'm not thinking
honest.
about anything right
No,
now.
I don't really give a shit.
You don't give a shit?
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
give a shit.
Cool.
So we just
Nobody cares that you're even lying to them. They're like, yeah, whatever.
cool.
In the pockets.
You find nothing else on them.
Okay, nothing else. No indication, no. Okay, alright.
That was just a little
They're
bonus.
She just gets 20. No, this is Debbie. She skims off the top. Plus 25 gold.
That's
That was a big skim.
Yeah.
actually, who's investigating the corpse? It's you and
Me.
both of you make a perception check now.
20.
Natural.
Natural 20.
Hmm?
Natural 20.
11.
Plus, where's my
Wow.
perception? Oh, a plus
Percep-
6. As I have proficiency
So
in
20,
perception.
26 with a natural 20. That's beautiful. So as Debbie is counting the coin in the man's pocket. Oh, I know what that is. Sorry, I'll fix that.
Whispers will come back.
Hmm?
7 hours of this? Why?
No, 12 hours of
Because
that.
Wow. When will you ever need 12 hours of that?
When you're playing
You like to
D&D.
sleep with
Anyway.
it
So you notice right away, Debbie is fucking counting up coin, and she's saying this, and you're like, yeah, whatever. You're looking down at the corpse, and you notice that under the nails, or in the gloved hand, there seems to be some hair.
Some hair.
Yeah, you go take a look.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna go pick up that hair.
Even though it's starting to disintegrate.
Yeah, I just want to grab like a little tuft of the hair.
Okay, do you put it in a pocket or something, or do you
Yeah,
just look at
do I
it?
have a
Okay.
pocket?
Yeah, you got.
Yeah.
You have all your pouches in your backpack and the
Okay.
things you would have had on top of your armor. You had to wear the armor as kind of like over clothing, but under other stuff.
Yeah, I'm just
Um,
gonna I'll put it in the pocket.
So you put it in your pocket. One thing that you notice right away is that it's of like a very luxurious black hair.
Like people hair, like nice.
It doesn't look like animal hair. It looks like people hair.
Ah. Werewolves! We got werewolves!
With good conditioner.
Alright, and on we go. Let's get the fuck out of here. We're
Okay.
melting.
Still banking off the success of the great survival roll that you made. You make it the rest of the way. At least following the path, you make it the rest of the way until you hit the edge. You stop in mid-flight as you notice that the ground gives way to nothing. And right at the border, right at the crest, like the cliffside, what would be a cliffside seems to be almost like a waterfall of dust. It's just the dust constantly pouring off
That's beautiful.
into the blackness beyond, and it is blackness beyond with swirling clouds of purple thunder and lightning happening all around you. And this seems to be something that is not only unique in the multiverse, but not many creatures ever get to lay eyes on it. What you are looking upon is the storm of annihilation.
This is where reality unmakes itself. This is where the last vestiges of dust that has disintegrated down to the least particulates then meet the plane of negative energy and become nothingness itself.
Wow. That's crazy cool.
And in that storm, there is that floating chunk of rock. You guys fly through the storm?
Yeah.
Can we fly over it?
Can we fly over it, or is it just like a
No,
never-ending storm?
It's just a wall. It's a wall that you
We
know.
all
down.
link arms and fly together because friendship is magic.
Could you
You get the feeling from just in the pit of your stomach from your arcane nature that you guys are going right back into the negative energy plane. That this is the border between these two. That wherever you guys just were, you're going right back in.
I say something about that. Hold on a second. I have a bad feeling about this.
Fucking told you so. I told us so.
You won't say it?
The negative energy, like where we just were with all the tentacle monsters, right? Yeah.
The void.
Yeah, the void.
That way lies the void.
But doesn't
I feel it.
doesn't the thing in your book, what does it look like? What does the thing in your book look like?
I'll show you.
is your book
So wherever we are, you think we may be.
We were here when we started. That's the world that you know.
But you said you think we may be on.
Being of druid training in nature, you're taking a look at the notes in his book, and you're not able to make heads or tails of it. You see the kind of that sigil, that map laid out to you, but like it has no meaning to you whatsoever. You recognize fire, earth, air, water, the elements that the druids would call upon for their nature magic and for their elementalism, but all of these in between things, you're like, this can't. Is there really that many? What?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not just unbelievable, but it's a little incomprehensible.
Like a pagan looking at a.
So it's more like. But
what if we have to go through that to get to another part of where we are?
We don't have a choice. That's the only door we have.
There's a portal, then we can't stay here.
We can't stay here.
We're dissolving.
We have to go.
We need to find shelter.
We need to find some place more hospitable.
Is the oven available yet, or?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, bro.
There's space.
Okay, so nearly resolved. You head towards the brief building that you had seen earlier. When you set off now from the trail, the storm is still thick. You're not able to see the building right away. You kind of have a sense of its direction. Rick, I need you to make one more survival check.
Oh, fire. So, 10.
Can you help him?
Oh, she's still assisting
I'm
you,
still
so
assisting,
get
okay.
advantage.
16.
Okay, much better. So you give, like, between the two of you, you kind of have both a good sense of direction of where the path was on the ground that is now farther and farther away from you as you fly through billowing clouds towards what you hope is a chunk of solid land and maybe other people. And then as you worry that it's just not going anywhere, that you might be going in the wrong direction, some of the clouds part and you see before you that floating chunk of rock, and you see that where that rock is and where that tower is, everything around it in a bit of a bubble, there is none of that torrential wind or clouds billowing through it, that it seems to be in a protective bubble.
Interesting.
You fly towards it.
Mm-hmm.
You land on the crest at the edge near one of the torches. You see now that the lights that are dotting around the edges of it are giant braziers set up in even intervals all along it. Giant fires going in each of them. There are two figures
humanoid figures that seem to be standing closer to the tower itself that is on its side. And they start to notice your approach. Where did you want to land? You guys are landing kind of on the edge there. Okay, so you land.
They see us, or they come towards us, or
Yeah, they begin to come. As soon as they see you, they begin to come towards you, weapons in hand. You look like a scary bunch of motherfuckers because don't forget you're wearing black, shiny, but now slightly textured with pockmarks, black shiny armor that looks very evil in itself, and you're wearing
Make everybody
helmets
Backstreet Boys pose.
that are faceless, that have giant horns reflective of your personalities, antlers, half horn, dragon horns, different kind of dragon horns,
Helmet.
ram horns. Like, there's good time. Sorry, you what?
Are we safe? Like, this
So
is a
you
safe zone bubble, right?
when you land down, you that tick 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 of the dust hitting your visor stops. The moment you cross that barrier, suddenly it stops and it silences, and we'll just there we go. I'm gonna find some,
so nice.
gonna find some different background music while we do this, but yeah, you sit down and you feel for the first time like your form, especially having been through the void and now been through this, your very being has been constantly threatened by your environment, and this feels like the first big breath you can all take, not even worried about the two forms that begin approaching you.
Ness puts her, I don't know, she doesn't even have a weapon out in the first place. She raises a hand in the air and says, "Oh, we are travelers. We mean you no harm. Please put away your weapons. We'd like to talk."
Your advisor makes it really hard to hear you, and you don't have telepathic communication with
Does,
them.
okay, right.
I have already taken off my helmet, by the way, and started walking. Yeah, I've
I
already
see.
done it.
Ballsy as fuck,
soon
you
as-
see Jinx take
I don't
off
give
her
a shit.
helmet.
As soon as I feel like I can't feel anything, I take it off. I'm like,
As
get
soon
this
as
shit
you-
off me.
As soon as you take off the helmet, by
Free
the
your
way,
hair doing this majestic
the
shit.
antlers disappear and becomes a very easy, very small helmet to have to carry. You put it onto your helmet, your hair tumbles out, and you feel much better because you feel so cramped up by wearing all this metal around you. You feel so disconnected to nature itself. But yeah, you're able to talk. Then anybody who takes off their helmet's able
All right,
to
well,
talk.
Ness takes off her helmet before she does that. As soon as she sees her take off her helmet, she's like, "Oh, okay," and then cries and then says that to the people again.
Okay, I just need quick.
She also says it in Draconic as well.
There we go. So you start off in what language?
Start off in Common, and then I
Yeah.
say the same thing again in Draconic.
And what did you say?
Ho, lower your weapons. We are travelers, and we mean you no harm. Please let us talk.
Okay. The two that approach you, they're not wearing any kind of protective crazy suits like you are. The two that approach you, one seems to be about 5'10" and has the first thing you notice about them is they have pale blue skin and dark blue hair that seems to be whipping out. Very short hair, but it seems to, even though there's no wind here, always whipping about their form. They wear
I wish my hair was
a
doing
heavy
that.
breastplate, and with the two gauntleted fists, one gauntleted hand seems to be entirely covered in metal, where the other one seems to expose the hand itself, as if maybe there's extra protection on one hand. The sword that this obviously now male, very strong figure is holding
What up?
is twice as wide as any greatsword you've ever seen. Like, we're talking a wide greatsword.
Anime style
And a very,
sword.
it's a buster sword.
A what?
A buster sword.
Okay.
Yeah, it is a cloud strife kind of sword. and he's holding it out in front of him with absolute ease, 2 hands. On the front of his armor is a crest that I guess I can bring up for you guys. This is an easy thing to show you.
It's very satisfying.
It's very crisp.
Mm-hmm.
Crisp. Where did it go? It was right here.
Gone for it.
I'll make Beasley a sharp
Nah.
Please do, then we can be matching.
Okay.
Where my shark din?
Right.
You know shark din?
I want to show you the symbol because it's important. The symbol on the front of his armor seems to be almost like some sort of skull of a crustacean, or some like really bony creature. It's on the front of his
crabs.
armor.
Crabs.
Ew.
The other one, and the other one beside him is a 6'4", bald-headed, barely armored female, very gray-skinned. You're not sure if they're human or not. If they are human, there's some sort of other ancestry mixed in there. Same with this other one. They're definitely both not human, but not fully something else either. The female is wearing a bit of a cropped top, just regular clothing, and on the front of it is the same symbol.
God damn.
She has from her fist as she's walking up to you, which is with a lot of grace and a lot of control and discipline. There is smoke, black smoke, constantly coming off of her hands. The two of them approach you. The male of the two says to you, "What is your business here in the Doomguard Citadel? Where do you come from?"
Oh, is that where we are? Guys,
We'd come from another
Doomguard
plane.
Citadel. Finally, some directions. I hope they have a bath.
Forgive my friend's brevity. We come from another place far, far away. Perhaps another
Please
plane,
can't
if you will.
stop laughing now, by the way.
We
Yeah.
seek
Most-
simply to pass
Giggling.
through and leave and attempt to find our way back to our own plane.
Oh,
We do not mean you harm.
you're a bunch of clueless. Well then,
We're
it's not gonna be
travelers.
fun. You want to come inside?
Oh,
You want to have a
please.
bite to eat?
Show us the joint. I bet it's lovely.
It's gonna cost you.
Oh, we've got coin to spare, sir.
What do you think, Vi? The female, not saying anything at all, just looks over at all of your group, decides to just crack her giant
Oh
knuckles.
God, I want to climb that like nobody's
He's wearing-
business.
Wearing cut-off fingerless gloves. You've come. Sorry, and then the first one says, "You've come to the edge of reality. Welcome."
You've been waiting a long time to say that, haven't you?
I don't. I tell that to all the travelers. They just hit A. Vavi, seems we got more guests. Let's show them inside. You guys follow them in? They have their weapon, or he has his weapon out still. Wants you guys to just, you keep your cool. You keep it to yourself. Don't make any false moves. We'll just end you and just fling you into the void.
I don't like the sound of this.
Whatever. Whatever. Just get us the fuck out of here.
Can we trust these people?
Probably not, but we don't have a
I
choice.
am going to make a sense. Is it sense manipulation? No, insight, probably.
Insight. Excellent.
Yes.
Go ahead and roll.
Well, that was an 18. No. Sorry, a 16. Sorry.
Okay. What are you trying to discern from who?
I'm trying to. Does he seem malicious? Does he seem to be setting
Are you
up for an
trying to find
ambush
it?
or something like that?
So the blue
The
skin
intent.
fellows, you're trying to find out what his intent.
Yeah.
You see that you get a sense from the
Is
way
he more amused? Is he? Yeah.
he seems passively amused, like this is something that they like a running joke that they get to do on a regular basis. Almost like that he is taking the piss out of you slightly, but on the other hand, there is a very dead seriousness to the position that he has here and to where you guys are. So while there is mirth in some of the situation, and he seems to be taking the piss, he seems to be very serious in his duty as well.
Not at all, just bored.
I
Okay.
I ask him what is your place here in this Doomgar's Citadel, I believe you called it.
I am to watch over the void. I am to contemplate it. I am to watch reality undo itself. I am to make something of it and come back with an answer. That is why we come here.
Gothest thing I've ever heard.
The one beside
Debbie's just dripping.
Yeah.
the
Not Debbie. Misha.
the large gray-skinned female just kind of nods and just says something. Just everything decays and falls apart here, particularly hope.
Particularly what?
Hope.
Definitely not sassy attitudes.
But
26 cents
but there's
more.
beauty in that case.
Or not
Huh?
26 cents
Okay.
insight with her. Does she seem to be like, is there a sense of malice coming from her, or is it just sort of a
you
sense
get
of
a
boredom
sense-
almost, and that she's, sorry.
You get a sense from her immediately that you feel like a cockroach. You feel like you are just a minor annoyance in her day, that you are an unwelcome sight in her world. That you're just an annoyance.
You never suspect a cockroach with a dagger.
It's kind of like
Half a dagger.
I'm annoyed with you because you're like a pest to me and you're underneath me. You're just this foolish, clueless person kind of sense to it. And with that, but she says very few words. It just seems to be in the slight snarl of her accent, just giving it away to you.
I want to. Actually, I'm at this point.
Can I be persuasive?
Maybe I'll wait for a little bit until we see where we're going.
I also made a picture of her too.
Cool.
Very cool.
Can I persuade them to tell me more about their lives here?
Okay,
we're
so as you're
walking.
walking back, now it's now that you're on the chunk of rock itself, you can see that the tower that is definitely once a tower, very very, stretching into the sky, that has since collapsed onto its side. From the top of it, the part that would basically be overhanging the edge seems to not be the top of the tower. That whatever the top was has long since fallen off from there. So this is a shortened building that has just fallen on its side, right? But there is a main entrance amongst the rubble. It seems to be a window that has been fashioned. It is a good 100 feet from where you are. It takes a few minutes to walk up to it in that time.
And I
You
just
try to...
try to just basically endear them to me and make them like me. I'm charming.
Okay, what exactly do you say? What's your
I
angle?
say, man, it must be really fun watching things destroy themselves out here, huh, mister?
Okay, go ahead and roll a persuasion check.
I wasn't done. I want to finish that
Oh,
conversation.
okay.
But, I will roll. Oh, I rolled so low.
Before we started walking, I've already stripped off all my armor and shoved it in your bag of holding.
Okay.
Oh, you're back down to being armless?
Yeah.
Okay. Who's got the bag of holding?
Alicia.
You do?
I do.
You need to write down that you have damaged void armor or damaged void suit.
Debbie, carry all my shit for me,
Do
Debbie.
it. Just
What?
do it.
What? I'll carry all your shit. I'll carry your gold for your tail.
Well, I think you did. The last,
didn't
you
do
still
that.
have that 50 gold.
As you're doing that, I come up and just kind of grab your sleeve, and I'm like, "Are you sure that's a good idea to remove that? We might need to leave this place in a hurry."
Well, I'm going to take as much time as I can
You
out
feel
of
much
that
better.
suit.
You feel much better as soon as you've taken it off, even
I'll
though
be
that you're in
fine.
a dark and disturbing and a necrotic place
where it's you feel
there-
finally
is-
like you have a breather.
Is there any like organic material, like vegetation or plant matter or anything?
Nothing within
Natural.
sight. It is all stripped away, just bare stone.
God.
I'm not that persuasive.
What did you roll?
I rolled low, so I got a 13.
Okay. And what were you trying to say?
I was trying to be like,
To the male.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm rubbing that.
hey there,
hair.
mister. What's it like living out here watching reality destroy itself? How'd you get into a job like that?
I came here to contemplate my own destruction. I have thought many a time, staring into the void, whether or not I would throw myself in.
And what have you decided?
I haven't yet. I stay here with Bobby, and we stare into the void.
Do you also write in
We
your
tried
Tumblr blog a lot?
What is this Tumblr? Or what is
Sorry, I
this blog you
couldn't-
speak of?
No.
They continue on and get a little annoyed. You notice something with
Okay.
his sword, by the way, that he still has out in front of him, kind of like in a defensive posture, that the sword itself has a slight black flame edge to it, very, very thin, just to the edge
Cool.
itself, just a very thin black outline that seems to be whipping about.
Does everybody
And
see that?
while you're talking to him and you say that shit and you start talking about tumblers and
Not
blogs,
really. Come on.
the sword itself flares for a second.
It's it's emotionally. Oh
Mm.
gosh, that is
It's a mood sword.
That is like.
Mood sword.
Does it have two
Um,
red blades coming out the side?
Does
or-
everybody see this?
No, just really Debbie, because she's paying attention in the conversation with
Okay.
him. Anybody else doing anything else as you approach?
I might try to ask the female what plane this is, and say that I had a feeling that we came through the negative plane, and we don't know where we are now. Do you know what plane this is?
Right now, you're standing in the plane of dust, just on the edge.
Do you know how we might be able to return back to the material plane? And ask super trustingly, because I don't get suspicious.
Such a clueless back.
Burke?
You'll get back. You're not part of this conversation.
No, I
okay?
just couldn't hear you. Like,
Burke. Yes, Burke. Clueless and Burke.
I said bark or bug.
You're such a clueless back. You'll talk to Anatos.
Thanatos.
You make a deal. Maybe you get to see the center of the multiverse.
Wait, was Anatos the other guy that was right there?
Are you asking her?
No, I'm just out of character. Did we already hear?
You don't know the guy.
We don't know this. Oh, okay.
You haven't asked
We're
him.
being
Is
taken.
that
We're being
Anatos
taken.
right
We're being
there?
taken to this person.
The
We're being taken to this person.
Anatos!
Anatos is inside. We
Um,
take you to see.
has it been an hour since we had that fight? Here with the.
Yes.
Okay.
Why?
Because at this point I would ask if, are there any rubies in the kitty in our.
You can't have my reviews.
Well, I'm asking, do we have rubies in the kitty?
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Out of game, are you talking about like material components for something?
Yes.
For what?
A continual flame.
Okay. I am not personally worried about material components, except for when we get to like 4th or 5th level spell slots. Then it's like they become harder to do magic. So for things that are like 1st to 3rd level, I'm going to say material components are really concerned. I assume that you have enough on you to do whatever you need to do.
Okay.
We'll make it like when the material component is like Hero's Feast is 1,000 GP worth fucking gem encrusted bowl that gets consumed in the spell. You basically spend $1,000 to cast this spell. But the spell gives you for 24 hours a ton of things like immune to poison, immune to other stuff,
Hmm.
resistances, extra hit points.
God mode.
Yeah.
It gives you a big buff over a long period of time, but it's costly. So, yes, you can cast Continual Flame.
Okay. I cast it on her holy symbol, basically. So
Okay.
you guys,
so it's-
you guys basically see that the holy symbol is glowing now, the strength of the torch around you.
So no longer just the light spell that was being cast before would have gone away with the other concentration. But you reignite the holy symbol, and some white radiant flames flick off of it, casting a glow around. You notice that you can now see the very stark blueness of the skin of the male figure, and both of them kind of recoil back, even though it's just a torch flame's worth of light. Just that you're adding an extra light source. There's just a brief little jump. Anyway.
They're so gothy. I love it.
Anything else before you make it in?
I turn into a weasel.
You turn into a weasel.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm
The
just
druid no longer
scurrying
feels
along, and you guys are like, "Oh my god, I'm
being
free."
an elf
Just
form.
ask them their names again.
You have?
Yeah.
The male blue-haired fellow turns with his. I am Doom God Tanzan Squall.
Hello, Tans and Squall. I'm Debbie.
He does not shake your hand as he's holding a two-handed sword.
So I'll just keep that one for myself.
My silent friend is Doom God Vavi. Wait, does she have a last name? Oh. Yeah. Vavi Nalakaga. Nalakaga. Ooh, that's a nice name.
Debbie definitely tries to flirt with him. Definitely.
Okay. There's not really a lot of time.
I know, but
on the
it's
walk
just
up.
it's on the way into the place. She does like the you know, let me shake your hand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You try. She seems to just be ignoring you. For the most
That's
part.
okay. That's right. I look, I'm tough.
Clenches her fists every once in a while, and the smoke kind of billows out just a little.
I couldn't get
fiercer.
at Sansei. It's like,
Yeah.
if I can't have it, I want it.
They're
no
looking at
longer.
you very curiously. One thing is that you do know, besides now having a weasel among you, you still stand out as a very odd-looking bunch. You took off your helmet, though, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't.
So Ness has actually got her helmet off. So you make it to the barrier of the citadel itself. Inside, light. That's the first most welcoming, warming thing, is that there's light that is just spilling out. When you walk in, it's a very brightly lit room, a grand chamber, in fact. There seems to be a few people busying about, humanoids of races you've never seen before. One looks oddly human, maybe with a tinge of red skin. Another is bustling by, and you swear they had a tail, maybe a little bit of fur.
Neat.
They all seem to be wearing some sort of insignia that designates them Doom Guard, which seems to be that same symbol on Tanzan's chest plate. Tanzan just leads you into up to a set of stairs. He says, "I will take you straight away to see Doom Lord Anatos. He always wishes to speak with new visitors. We get very few up here, but today's our lucky day. We get all of you and a few more."
A few more. Who are the other ones?
Oh, there was just one before you.
Was he the Jep we saw right here?
No. It was a woman. And his eyes kind of glaze over. And as his eyes glaze over, there just seems to be a look of, we'll go, you can make an Arcana check.
Tanya!
I'm going to use a luck point on this one.
Okay.
Just because.
If you need to.
So that's 22, and whoops, 22 is the highest.
Okay, so 22. You immediately recognize some of the side effects of somebody who's maybe been charmed or dominated. Some sort of charm magic has been cast here. His eyes focus once more and looks at you. Yeah, there was just a woman before you. She passed through Talk to Anatos. Left.
Tanya.
She wasn't wearing any clothing.
Tanya.
And then he kind of smiles. She couldn't find figure.
I kind of like motion you two over, Ness and Jinx, and kind of like, I think that somebody was here before, and maybe a magic user and was tried to charm this person.
Yeah, it was probably that clone.
Oh, did we see the clone?
Oh yeah, that's a good question.
Okay.
Or are we meta?
So, just to remind you from last game, yes, when you guys were just coming out, you had heard the wet footfalls, the wet slaps against the ship's floors of somebody running down the hallway. You guys caught just in time when you got back up the stairs from the storage area. You went back up just in time that I think Rick, with his freaking eye patch and everything, just saw the fleeing buttocks, 19-year-old buttocks that just disappeared into the darkness. By the time you got into the room, she was chipping away at the necrotic ice that was formed at the base of the portal, and was shoving it in her face, and seemed very feral, didn't do much else, and then jumped into the portal.
Right. But
And that's all she did.
Yeah.
Well, didn't find
So
Apparently she didn't die
I
in
rephrase
the
that.
vacuum of the
She's been
netherworld.
here. That's all I say. Then.
Tanya!
She's been here.
Who
Future
is,
enemy.
Tanya. Like her.
The BBE of the last, the big bad evil of the last game.
Okay. And she had a clone.
Yeah, the spaceship that they were on, she had figured out and could control it, and in the medical bay there was a cloning machine she had set up. So when she died, her soul immediately popped into the clone, and clone decanted and got the fuck out of Dodge.
Oh, wait, I didn't know about the soul thing. Oh shit.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
that's-
my explanation.
I was like,
That's how clones work in D&D. Is
Oh.
whenever you have a cloning situation, it's you're assumed to have one soul.
Oh.
So
so all the
Your
intense
clone-
memory, everything.
your
is
clone isn't
alive.
active. Your clone isn't alive until your soul pops into it.
We
Which
gotta
you would
get
make
clones,
one
guys.
for the purposes of switching bodies, kind of thing. You don't have two of you.
Okay.
No, that's other kinds of sci-fi magic.
Then I would have known that, right? If that's a magic thing, or
It's
No,
yeah.
you wouldn't have known any of that. The part that you would have really so I met a
Oh,
little
okay,
bit of
never
that.
mind.
What you would have known is that you had seen somebody who looked very much like a younger version of Tanya going all feral by the portal and then jumping in.
Yeah.
Now you're hearing a description of somebody who matches a little bit of Tanya's description-ish. I mean, you also got the hair from the hand.
I got hair.
She had
Ooh.
I'm
she
rubbing
had
that hair
she
right
had
now.
black
Did she?
luxurious hair.
Oh, I have
Very healthy.
clone's hair.
Very healthy conditioned hair.
so that okay.
Okay.
Then that's all I say. It's just
Yeah.
Tanya's been here,
Can we meet
and
this guy now?
and this guy is under her spell. That's all I say then.
Vavi, by the way, just turns to you all and has overheard part of this conversation. Just
I was
saying,
whispering
Yeah, you were. She rolled an
in my helmet.
She rolled it. What?
I don't have a helmet on.
Oh, that's right. So then I guess
Neither
Neither of us
okay.
have helmets on. So you
Fine.
wouldn't
I would have
put
taken
them
it off and whispered it then.
Okay,
so
you have your
I
helmet
hear.
off now too.
I do now then too.
Okay, cool.
Well, the helmet's allowed for telepathic communication.
Yeah, between other people who have a helmet.
I'm just talking to myself.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You're both still wearing your helmets?
Wearing a
Is that-
helmet? So
At
we're
this
having
point?
we're having very romantic conversations at this point.
Oh,
Debbie is just making fart noises in your ear
Oh boy.
constantly. Just like we're both trying to listen to this conversation, and Debbie is like, blah 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 blah. Oh, it's so good.
Oh no, you would have had to take your helmet off too, though.
I didn't take
To
it off.
talk to
No.
the guys.
No, I didn't.
Oh, to talk to Tanzan and all
I
that.
opened my thing, but that's it.
No, you can't open it.
You said that I could lift my visor.
When?
Thought that was a thing. You said
No, never. The visor it's a one faceless
Then I
mask.
took it off and I put it back on.
26 insight. Can I tell that these two were freaked out by the dark as well? Or could I tell from my experiences with them earlier?
First of all, I'd prefer if somebody tells me that they're rolling for something
Oh.
before they tell me that what they got, because if you didn't make it, would you tell me necessarily if you got it, kind of thing? I have to rely on the
I'll
honesty of
roll on
everybody
it
at the
then right
table.
now.
Just 26 on insight on what?
Whether or not I can tell if these guys were freaked out by the darkness before or the I don't know. I'm just
You gotta pick
I
one
would
person.
actually
Pick
this
one
is,
person that you're inciting on. You
Okay.
gotta slay one person to try to be like, I'm trying to get figure out what they're about.
Okay.
So you got 26 on who?
We'll say Rick first.
Okay.
Oh.
Rick, are you freaked out
Wait.
by something? What? Sorry,
I'm so
freaked out by what?
Oh, it's just I was wondering if I could tell if they were suffering from the same affliction with darkness as I was. This thing.
No, you don't. You haven't really been. You're
Not
not
been
in.
the right
You're not in
circumstances.
the right circumstances
Yeah,
for
yeah.
that. Maybe if
Alright.
you were in the dark, you can kind of pay attention for that. But like, you're really not thinking about that outside
Okay,
of your
yeah,
head.
makes sense.
You know?
No.
Thank you. So, yes, moving on. You guys end up going with the two guards up a flight of stairs and into a largest chamber. Now, the entirety of the decor of this now fallen on its side citadel is just of a dark gray stone, very simple masonry, very simple engineering. There were tapestries and other art pieces that used to adorn the walls. Some of them still are attached, so it's now on the ceiling or on the wall sideways. Most of the things that were previously part of the wall are now floor have been cleared out, so anything that would have been attached to the wall has been cleared out to make room for a floor. But you have like a lot of sideways stuff up on the walls. The tapestries you do see don't really depict much. It seems to be really rotted away. You go up to the upper level that they lead you to. It's a very large chamber that has on one wall an open cutout window that is overlooking deeper into the Storm of Annihilation. It is like a giant viewing area, and there are dozens and dozens and dozens of people set up in different positions. This is all different races, shapes, and sizes, and most of them are sitting or reclining.
I was just gonna ask a question, but I'll wait.
What's your question?
This seems like the restaurant at the end of the universe.
So they're all
It's actually good.
they're all there, and you're looking around the room. And the first thing you like, besides seeing this crowd of people, they all seem to be looking out this viewport of sorts, this window, and all of them seem to be engaged also in some artistic activity. Some are writing. Some have a canvas and easel in front of them with some paints. Some are sculpting away with chisel. Some are using magic to shape stone or to shape other images. Some are painting with magic into books themselves. And all seem to be in some creative process while looking into the void. You see men and women, you see some dragon-looking humanoids, you see demonic-looking humanoids, you see people with kind of caked, crusted earth skin.
Neat.
This is, you're taking all of this in and walking very regally, very tallly among them, passing by beside each of them, sometimes looking at a bit of work, giving a word of advice or a little encouragement here and there. You see a male of very fine cut clothing, all buckles and lapels and pauldrons, and just seems to be very very posh. You could tell that no matter where this person was in the multiverse, he would come off with a little bit of swag by default. Jet black hair, slicked back and very long down the back, and two black horns that curl up and out, like kind of doing a little bit of a reverse question mark off the front of his head. You see black sharpened claws on red-skinned hands and a red-skinned face.
This person seems to have a slight demonic tint to them. He turns, looking up at you from the work of some sculptor. A little bit of a puzzlement on his face. Oh yes. Tanzan, Vavi, what have you brought me this time? Tanzan comes up. Oh, we found more strays come in from the storm. Vavi just says, they look strange. I think they want to go home. Cute. They both turn and begin walking off like you're nothing. Both of them, like you're nothing. Like you're not a threat at all. Tanzan at this point has put away his sword. Vavi's fists, which are still slightly smoking, diminish slightly, and they have walked off, leaving you just in the company of being who introduces himself as, well, guests of Citadel Alluvius. I am Doom Lord Anatos. What brings you to our little home base in the heart of the void? You're a weasel, that's right.
Oh, man. Y'all mind if I,
So, you see, Lord Anatos?
Anatos.
If that's big black shiny butthole spit us out here. We were fighting some hard fights. We saw death. We faced it. We nearly were disintegrated many times over, and yet found our way here. So though we did come here not knowing where we were going, I think we can all agree that we found something truly special. Persuading him that I'm into this
What
place.
are you persuading
that this is a beautiful place, and I want to know all about his life here.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to make a persuasion roll just to try to warm up to him slightly.
Yeah, I want
But this isn't to change his mind about persuading him to change his mind about something.
No.
You're just
I want him to like us and
like
start telling us about things, and that's why I'm like, this is a cool place, and we're also pretty badass, and you should respect us.
Wouldn't that be like a performance?
No.
No, this will be persuasion, but go ahead and make the roll. You did notice, though, while you began talking, he started to chuckle slightly under his breath. What did you roll?
I rolled so low.
What is that? A 3 plus 1? What's your total?
9. So it's 12.
What?
3 plus 9.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's 12. Yeah, he's just listening to you start gabbing on about it, and he's just like, oh.
This would be really charming if you were a human.
Good thing I'm not. And you see just a little flicker of fire in his eyes.
He thinks I'm funny.
So from what you're telling me, you're a bunch of clueless that have come in from the void. And?
That's screaming butthole, not the void.
And so congratulations. You get to continue to exist. Would you like a medal?
No, but if you could show us around, you know, maybe show us...
Let me cut to the point. My friend here is
this
sometimes
bitch
a little bit
she's
too...
talking. Oh.
Sometimes a little bit too sociable. We would like to get back to our plane. If you would
I'd
help
like
us,
to persuade this
we can help
character
you
to go.
conceivably.
Stop. What are you trying to do?
Well, I just like... Okay.
You're trying to interrupt Ness?
Well,
when Ness starts being like, I want to talk plainly, and you're like, this bitch!
No, okay,
in front of Anatos. I just want to know if that's your character or not talking.
No.
That's
no,
not.
it's
Okay.
fine. Never mind.
I just need
it
to
was
know.
just like super rude to be in the middle of something and get interrupted. It's fine. It's fine. It's not a big deal. Yeah, no.
So, okay, so you're acting
is
like
a big
Ness
deal.
was
No,
being
your
rude.
dick is not a big deal. It's clearly not a big deal.
So Nesta starts interrupting you.
No,
you
it's
take a little bit of contestation to it, but
I
she
don't.
she continues to talk. Do you
No.
interrupt her or?
I don't.
Okay. What is Nest saying?
Oh, she says, we would request your help to return to our plane. Our friend here has better knowledge of this. Perhaps you should talk with him.
Well, little known. Little known. What do you have to say for yourself?
Well, Mr. Anatol, what's his name?
It was Doom Lord Anatos.
Anatos. Mr. Anatos, sir.
Do you even know where you're from?
Wormland?
Do I?
Never heard of it.
Prime
You get a
material.
sense, by the way, as an Arcadist yourself, Wormland is the local name of the island that you guys were from.
Yeah.
Definitely not the name of the world you're from.
No. Would we have known the name of the
Well,
world we were
if
from?
you have known, then
Would
no.
any of us?
You have-
So,
no.
You
I
have
guess
put
not.
the plane
'Cause
then?
we just thought
You've
that
never,
Wormwood was
it's
our world.
always been the world to you. There's
Okay.
never been any kind of external reference to it. So, not having any frame of reference, you're not able to really formulate that.
Not
You
even as
let
a-
I
it
was
go.
As
under
like
the
a
impression
magic
your book actually had
No, because there's not
details
like,
on those
oh, I'm
different
standing on
existence,
Earth
so, yeah.
365
That's why
right
I
now.
threw it
Like,
in
it
your
doesn't
lap.
know that. He's like, I'm on Earth.
Yeah, you could just like
Oh, well, you go somewhere
show
else.
him
Yeah,
your
I'm from
notes.
Earth. Yeah, that's the name of ground.
Can you
what are you
grade
talking
this
about?
for me?
You know, that's the kind of reaction that you're getting right now. You've been from the only place that you knew existed, that you have ever experienced existing, and now you've been through a few other places. So yes, you say to Lord Anatos, what the...
just that I've been told that we are currently on the dust plane, and we know that this is not our
That's true.
home. We come from a place of waters and trees and land and beasts and clean air, and
So cute.
I'd like take out my
Around?
book and I'm like
You show him the
I'm
Swiss
just sort of
journal?
holding it in my hand as I say
You
this.
hold
and
it
like,
open kind of thing?
show him this
He
thing.
takes kind of like a brief glance at that. Again, there's a bit of a chuckle, and he shakes his head. You're primers.
Hmm?
You're so clueless. Primers. That's what I called you. Primers. You're from... I'll give you a small education. You're from what we would call out here the prime material plane. It's real. You're from a real place. But there's so many of them. Yours is not the only world. Where you are now is the elemental plane of dust, where Earth, the plane of Earth, and the plane of negative energy meet. This is where reality unravels, as you may have been told several times. But he does say, this is where we contemplate the void, and he kind of gestures out to the rest of the room. He says, this is the room of contemplation. Great works of art are made here. All of these people, they come here to look deep into the annihilation of everything, of nothingness itself, and find themselves inspired. Somehow their connection with what is going out there in the storm, as he gestures out to the billowing clouds of purplish energy crackling out there, he says, they find some connection to something right before it is about to be annihilated forever. And they create something new and beautiful in its memory. And it never dies. This is the only act against entropy that is acceptable. This is an act of creation.
Gotta quote Alicia here. This is so goth.
I was gonna say, why are they not constantly fucking? Right?
Does he say that?
Well, no.
Oh, okay.
But
But
like,
yes, why are they not constantly fucking?
Maybe they have really long refractory periods,
I guess.
of like 8 millennia.
How do they get here? They surely can't go through the crazy bullshit we went through.
No, they go through the door.
Through the door?
The door to Sigil. The city of doors.
It's a whole city of doors. Aren't whole cities of doors now? Like
Let me
buildings have
tell you,
doors.
there is a place that all places are connected to.
It is called the City of Doors. From this place, this very special place at the hub of the multiverse, you can find down any alleyway, dirty cupboard, or fancy arcane sigil a way to somewhere else in the multiverse. And everywhere is connected to this. This citadel is connected to sigil, as are our other citadels. You may pass through the barrier, you may pass through the portal, but what do you offer?
Debbie, you can have Debbie.
We don't just let any clueless primer wander into sigil. Offer me a trade, offer me a price, offer me something
Perhaps
that I may
there's-
let you through.
Perhaps there's some task that we could help you with.
You want to kill the rats in our basement? Is that what you want to do?
We killed some flying dust
There's
rats
some pretty
just
big
outside
fucking
of
rats.
A task? You want a task to do? Is that what you're asking me
We
for?
have skills. We
I
can
don't even have my door.
perhaps we can provide for the city.
Is that what you're to look at? I'm just wondering if you have anything you might want to offer.
I don't know what I could offer.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
I have a,
Well,
Anybody else?
We have
Really?
gold.
what would such low creatures, such of ourselves, have to offer? Obviously,
Well,
such
it's
powerful
just-
creatures.
just-
as
that is not how I bargain. Not skill.
Well,
I
give us an idea of what would
put an offer on the
satisfy.
table, and I will do my brother in it.
I pop back up and put down 12 silver pieces. I turn back into
that's adorable.
my face and put down
Okay,
12
you-
silver pieces.
Okay, so you pop back out. The druid pops out of Weasel form. The Weasel just suddenly pops
You'd be
into
so
an
much
elf
cuter
form.
if I
She
thought
counts out 12 gold silver pieces, throws it down, and then you pop back in.
No, I
You
just
stay
sat
out?
there. I have copper too.
Okay. Debbie?
I have nothing.
Oh, I thought you said something.
I pull out my lute and offer a song.
Anybody else?
I offer to join in that song with my lute. It'll be a duet.
Or wait,
Oh.
sorry,
I can join in that song too.
my lyre.
What did I have?
Black band.
I can just use my food.
Debbie's not doing anything.
Oh, she's got nothing. Got no like.
And a whole bag of holding, got nothing.
For the two that offered music,
I can offer music as well. I just can't remember what I played.
do you have proficiency in performance? Or in an instrument? On the front sheet?
I have proficiency in it'll be on here if you have proficiency. There
Please
should be.
understand. More things you can do.
Like what?
I don't have
You don't
proficiency.
think you choose your own adventure set of options rather than.
I remember having.
No, Jinx was proficient in a music instrument.
No, I wasn't proficient in it, but I had a musical instrument. No.
Okay.
But I can't
That could be
sing it.
fun.
Roll at a disadvantage.
I'm just gonna.
Now I gotta ask.
I'll shake my hair.
So
Bugs start falling out of it.
when you pull out your lyre
Mm-hmm.
and
Buy a
Anatos
lute.
and your lute, now Anatos says immediately, well, that would actually be acceptable. Go take your place among the others. Meditate on the void. Then present to me your song.
It's gonna be the gothest song.
Okay.
He did just lose a puppy.
Oh.
It's gonna
Yeah.
be really dark.
Is
Is
this a
Rick
good-
doing the same thing?
I asked you if it's a good idea,
Bullet?
if you're agreeing to it, and like, should we do this?
Sure. Let's do it.
Okay, so the two musicians in
Write
the
a song
group
together.
decide to pull out their instruments and take their place. You find an empty spot. You being a little one, you find a good spot that happens to be kind of close to this person that seems to be a little draconic in nature, maybe a dragonborn. of
Oh,
sorts,
really?
With blue scales, chromatic. They seem to be working on a painting at the moment. The painting seems to be of a little girl playing with her teddy bear, having a tea party
set in a green glade by some blue water. The girl's got red flowing locks of hair, and Teddy Bear is just brand new brown. There's a fine china set. This is a very detailed painting as the Dragonborn has got the palette in their bath, and chromatics are known to be evil. So it seems a little, just kind of little out of character. You go and you sit down, you seem a little bit more comfortable with being there, and you tune up. You're not able to find a spot anywhere near Rick, and you're both sitting there for the next hour, meditating. Meditating into the storm of annihilation. Both of you sitting down with your instrument in your lap, not sure what to do. You start tuning it up. I guess both of those instruments can be tuned. So you tune it up, and after just the first minute or so of just kind of casually looking around, nervously, awkwardly, you start to really focus on the storm in front of you through the window. And you get drawn in by it and the beauty and the swirling. Like, you know, when you put cream in your coffee and you watch the cream cloud kind of billow around. It's the magic of that, but you're seeing reality being destroyed. And
sorry, he's going to come back and be like, walked into the party.
You see the party go off and take their place amongst the contemplative. Anatos turns to the rest of you. Do you have anything to offer me? Are you going to stay behind here? Or do you want to join your friends in Sijil?
I'll join.
Well, that doesn't cover everybody. Interesting.
Oh, I'm the manager. I get a percentage for covering these guys and making sure that they stay out of trouble.
Okay, that's an interesting angle. Is that you're trying to convince them that you deserve a pass because of these guys?
Mm-hmm.
That they should play together?
Oh, absolutely.
Use them to help you. So then go ahead and roll a persuasion.
Oh, sure.
Are you trying to convince them of something now, which might be
Like,
beneficial to you?
Bang on your shield, be a rhythm section.
No.
No? Okay,
you'd
cool.
have to roll
That's a no.
performance, which is not exactly.
13 is a no, right?
No, that might be
It
a
may
success.
actually
Just
be
tell
the
me your
thing that
number
ruins
next
everything,
time.
but it may.
What, like a native or something?
No. It's
Play,
just a straight 20. Actually, no, I can roll with advantage if I need to. Which actually, you know what? Actually, Ness says I will join these my friends in their song.
Cool, 1 second. The Anatos says to Debbie, "Oh, really? Are you going to help them then?"
Help them how? I'm their promotional artist. I should go around and get everybody paying attention, I suppose.
Then go do what you have to do. You start going around the room?
Yeah, you're telling them
And
about
trying
this
to hype
awesome
people up?
band. Yeah.
You'd be like, "Oh,
Yeah,
hey,
like
there's about to
I'm
be
the
a
world's
performance of-"
greatest raffle girl.
Okay, so to sum it up, basically Debbie decides to take it upon herself. Okay, she's got something to contribute here. She goes around the room and starts just whispering in all these beings. Well, you're just trying common for the most part, right? You're just.
I don't have any other real languages. I don't think Dwarven, maybe.
That's not a real language.
Cool, sir.
Good thing there's no dwarves in the group. I don't speak Dwarven. I speak Elven.
Okay.
Oh,
Well, for the
there you
most
go.
part, you're trying common. You're going around the room, and you're actually getting the attention of a few people. Go ahead. Well, no, we'll get you to roll for that after. You. So Ness is going to what? Is going to play what?
She'll be the rhythm section. She'll like bang on her shield.
Okay. And what do you do?
I'm gonna go sit down on my own and meditate, and I want to try and create something living, like a plant.
Okay. You know you have
Or-
like a ability called Druidcraft.
Do I?
It's a cantrip called Druidcraft.
I don't believe I have it.
By default, all druids kind of have it. It's
Okay,
your ability to
perfect.
make good berries and things like that.
Perfect.
Good berries.
Yeah, the ones you can.
The good berries taste like good berries. And schnozberries.
It tastes
But
like
yes, I
Elven.
want
Uh,
to try and
Yeah, you.
create something living, something.
Okay. So,
These will be different checks because you're all doing different things. This is going to be meditation. No, meditation. So,
It's a form of meditation.
for the purposes of this, what we got here, insight, perception,
Just wanted to
survival.
quickly say that I think you're going to have trouble making anything living after you got a sword through your.
Shut up. Shut up.
Okay. Geez, we're almost done with the session, by the way, for those who it's running late for. Just
Only
real
3.
quick. Yeah,
Is that still on?
yeah, it's really, really warm in here. It's fun. What is Kieran contemplating when he starts looking into the void?
How he came all this way, and it seems like he saved the world, but he didn't get anything out of it because his friend died, and he misses him and wonders if he can ever see him again in some other plane. And also I guess how he can help out his friends get home, but that's kind of a back note in his mind.
What does Jinx see in the void?
All the life she's ever seen. So all of the vegetation, all of the good things, growing, cultivating plants with her mother, and that dwarven city, seeing all of the vegetation there, and just all of
While
the
you're doing
life.
this, you've taken a seed out of your hair, some sort of, flower seed that you just happen to have on you. You're holding it in your hands, and just kind of holding it between your hands as you're thinking about that. Rick, what's Rick contemplating when he looks into the void?
Endless hordes of the undead.
Just the massive source of undeath itself.
Yep.
He just sees the literal destruction of life in front of him. How does he feel about that?
Pretty morbid.
Morbid how? Does he feel
Sad or
Nihilistic.
realistic?
wants to, doesn't see the meaning of anything, kind of thing?
Kind of flashing back to Wormwood a little bit. Horror and shit.
Okay. What's Ness contemplating in the void?
She's contemplating the nature of fear. From her experiences in the darkness, and her connection to her God that is tenuous at best in this world. She's meditating on that, trying to strengthen it.
Okay. And lastly, Debbie. Debbie, as you're hyping
Yeah.
and hyping and hyping and hyping away, you can't help but be drawn into the storm. You catch yourself staring at it as you're talking to somebody into somebody's ear, whispering, and you just find your head keeps turning towards the void. What would Debbie see in the void, in the storm of annihilation?
See, don't understand the element that is Debbie. She might see that, she might be stealing glances at it, but she don't want anybody to know how she feel about it. She's fucking terrified of it, horrified by it, thinks that it represents death incarnate for her, and she is so scared of the idea that even stealing those glances feel deepening with terror in her. So she is doing everything she can to pretend like it isn't there.
Okay. I need the 4 of you to make a wisdom check. So you're going to roll a d20 and add just your wisdom bonus, and you have advantage.
I don't need advantage with that, but yeah.
Wow, I just rolled the same thing twice in a row. I guess I'm fucked. 11.
Okay.
22.
Okay.
17.
Okay.
15.
Okay. Ness, as she's contemplating into the storm of annihilation, she's reminded that this is just one end of the cosmos. That if this place exists, there is an opposite place. And it would be just as beautiful in the most opposite way. It would be the outpouring of life into the multiverse. And realizing that, feels the strength of her connection with Muhammad. Just ever so slightly, a little bit more. For Garen, you also made the roll. You're staring into, and you're contemplating your friend's fate. You feel inexplicably, despite everything you've seen and everything you've gone through, you feel a tiny flicker of hope in the pit of your stomach. This arcane burn, this feeling that was very similar to when you were drowning on the sea, holding on to some flotsam, begging to hang on to life. And that burn began in your stomach before you saw your friend for the first time. You feel a bit of burn in your stomach again, and even though you don't know one way or the other what has become of your friend, you feel a slight flicker of hope that you might see him again.
Sweet.
Yes.
Debbie,
Deborah?
I need you to roll a persuasion check.
I haven't been very persuasive thus far.
With advantage.
Why do I get advantage?
Because you're contemplating on the void of what you said. I was getting you guys to actually engage a bit more. And you're engaged. Thank you. So you get advantage. You don't have to have it. 3? Or 17.
17%. Wait, what'd you say?
Persuasion. You get like a plus.
You're pretty persuasive.
9.
Plus 9. The most blasé plus 9.
26.
It's only 26. It could have been a 28, I guess. Or natural 20. Anyway. Yeah, Debbie, you go around the room and you're gaining a lot of attention from the crowd. There begins a murmuring on all those present, where there was, while there was previously a contemplative silence as everybody went about their art and their form as they.
God, I feel like they're gonna Shanghai me after their performance. Sorry.
It's okay.
I was done.
Okay. So you go around the room and you start murmuring as people gain an interest in the newcomers that have arrived. The strange people in black, shiny armor. Weird druid who seems to be holding a sprig of something in her hand. And this halfling girl or boy or something, because you're wearing the helmet again, aren't you? Well, you have to take it off to talk to people, I suppose.
Yeah.
Are you presenting as boy or girl?
Look like a boy right now.
Okay, boy. So this young boy is going around the room being like, the band's about to start. Just look over there. The band's about to start. These guys are really good. He managed to convince people to stop what they're doing and suddenly pay attention to the group that is you. Now, you're not all standing together, but after a bit of meditation, you get up and the Lord Anatos says, all right then, show me what you've got.
Show me what you
Thanks.
She's using
Oh, wait,
whatever
you're
lucky
over there.
points for this.
Before you start rolling things, so Anatos asked for a performance. Now, he was expecting a solitary piece from each of you, but you seem to have had the intention to play together, and so I'll allow you to play together and make it a group check instead of individual checks.
Okay.
The three of you, but you get advantage because you've been hyped really, really well.
Sweet.
We'll get to what you're doing afterwards.
Alright, so I guess I don't
So
get to use a lucky
you
point.
began clang, 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 like you're bashing that warhammer on the front of the shield.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
What did you get?
An 8.
That was the higher roll?
Oh, yes.
That's after bonuses?
And that's after bonuses.
Okay, cool. So you're not very good at it. What?
No, terrible.
How does Rick do with his dirge?
I got 17.
Excellent. And what did Garen do?
I used a luck point, and I got.
No, you got advantage.
He had advantage.
Oh right, sorry. Never mind. That's right. It's high 23.
Okay, so 23, 17, and 8. Okay, well, it's enough to go by. It's a little. Okay, so you played with those drummers who just can't quite hold the beats. You can't hold time. That's what's happening. Ness is trying her best and is enthusiastic and feels really inspired, but she seems to be out of time just a little bit. But the two of you make up for it in some mad lyre and lute playing. As you would even be like singing a little bit with,
Yeah, probably.
with this?
Probably.
It's a sad song. It's inspiring and it's solemn and it's a dirge, but it's still a sad song. And while it doesn't bring down the energy in the room, everybody is quite into
How
it.
could anything bring the energy down? They're staring into the pit of oblivion.
Yeah. Good question.
But they're all very much into it, and your patron Anatos seems absolutely moved by it. At the end of the song, as you're rounding it up, and Ness is just banging away, and she's now like well a full step out of time. You two are just madly playing and back and forth. You don't quite know the words to it, but you both know kind of the feel to it, and you add your own experience of what you've been through the music itself. By the end of it, I need you to make nature check with advantage.
Can I describe what I make?
In a second.
Oh, 1. That's sad.
Roll that in there.
13.
Okay, you're still able to druid craft something out of this. So from that little seed springs forth
A lily, like from a lily pad, like the middle of a lily pad, so it opens up in my hands and you see it just come out and unfurl, and it goes from like yellow, light pale, very pale, like yellows concentrated in the middle out to like an orangey pink, and then like purpley colors just on the end, so it's like kind of a rainbow. It's pretty.
You guys get just a point of inspiration just for how well you guys did with this last scene, by the way. You present this beautiful act of creation in the face of such destruction to Anatos with his long black horns and his sharp teeth and his flaming eyes. And he takes it from you, and it stays whole and intact.
Oh,
He sniffs it.
it smells like a mixture of lilacs and jasmine. Very fragrant, like when they like are at their peak scent.
A smile crosses his lips. Very well. You've enriched my life. Those around here. You can pass through the portal, like the one that came before you.
Dun, dun, dun.
How did she enrich your life?
And he says, "It's very strange you come to us this day. We had another visitor before you. Do you know her? Do you have any relation to her? Was she part of your group?"
Wasn't part of her group, but who was she?
She came from the
Maybe.
same realm that we came from.
Interesting.
Did she arrive naked?
She didn't have clothes, but when she came in, Tanzan was more than ready to provide her with a spare set.
How did
She was dressed. She came to the room of contemplation. Then his eyes glaze over. And he kind of looks off in the distance. She made her way. And then we let her through the portal.
what did she create?
I don't remember. It was beautiful, though. And he just again starts like looking kind of glassy-eyed, like there's something sort of like fogging that area of his brain, of his memory.
Was he also charmed?
That's what it seems like. Should we tell him? Should we try to break the charm? Or should we just continue on?
It doesn't
I
matter.
have one more gift for you.
Oh.
Dicks.
Dicks.
Yeah, I think I've got enough use out of that.
No, keep it. You have to keep it.
Well, actually, no. Would Ness have any idea about that particular, them glazing over? Would that make any sense to her as far as it
It's
being
not
some sort of
magic
charm?
that you can make an insight check.
Okay.
You know that.
That's
that
pretty
the eyes
significant
glazing
insight
over.
check.
I think I mentioned that before. Yeah.
4.
Yeah,
24.
Steve
Two of you.
told both of us about,
Well, about the last guy.
the last guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
And you're
you
you're
guys
picking
talked
up-
together. Did you were
The three of us.
whispering.
No, I was
Oh.
talking to the three.
Oh, you
you
talked
two.
to me as well. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So then I recognized that behavior, and I got the insight thing.
And then you recognize through your insight that there seems to be something off with this person that just every time you mention what she did to get through, what she gave, seems to elicit a reaction that is just goes kind of foggy. And so you seem, maybe he's charmed, maybe he's dominated, maybe he's just really fond of her, maybe he really liked what she did.
Maybe she hit him over the head a few too many times.
Maybe she sucked
Exactly.
his dick.
Really, really
I-
good.
I said
Really good.
While staring into the void.
Yeah, like he doesn't even remember what the fuck else. Oh, so she was also spreading her legs. That's fine.
So
I'd say to him, we know of this person you speak, and she is not necessarily what she may have seemed. Would you allow me to attempt to dispel what I believe may be an enchantment upon you?
he looks at you with a little bit of suspicion. He looks at the symbol to Bahamut around your neck. I don't necessarily feel comfortable with that. What would you be doing to me?
I would like to attempt to remove what I see as a curse.
Just imagine this is like a demon. It's like the Scientologist coming up to him.
Hey man, I got you.
You
Don't
got
worry.
those-
You
those
just got some
Thetans.
thetans.
And this totally works on my
Help
plate.
your
It's
Thetans. I'm here to help your
Ew.
Thetans, man.
Yeah, totally.
Roll a persuasion check.
Let's see how this goes. Oh, actually, that's remarkably good because I got nothing to help me with persuasion. But 17.
A 17? He says, alright there, cleric. You may touch me, but briefly.
That's what she said.
And that's it.
Cast remove curse on him, which all curses affecting one creature end.
Okay.
Which I'm not sure if this is actually considered. a
Okay,
curse
so
of
you
sorts,
cast,
but
right, so you cast remove curse.
Yes.
Whether or not you're sure whether or not it's going to work.
Well, it's. I don't know. Is it a
So
curse?
you
I don't
cast
know.
remove curse. Your holy symbol glows. You
It's
touch
not
him.
glowing. Yeah.
Stuff happens. Yeah, no. So you cast remove curse, buddy. You touch him, and the glowing light from your symbol seems to transfer through your hand, through your touch, onto his form. There's a bit of a snarl. As the holy light kind of fills, washes over, and he just says, "Oh, I don't feel any different. How would we know?"
How do you feel about what she did for you?
Glazes over again.
Well, it was worth a shot.
She was great.
Worth the shot. Debbie, shoot him.
What? Can you tell us anything about where we're going? The City of Doors? Any pointers? Please.
The dark of it's going to cost you some jank.
You better pay the music box and get some guide when you get there. Or else you're just gonna stay clueless and end up in the dead book.
The dead book.
I used every bit of fucking sigil slang you could use in one
Can
sentence.
I have that in writing, please? I did not get that.
He basically told you, information is money,
Oh,
and it doesn't come for. So he's not going to just tell you anything for free. That once you get there, it'd be best to hire a guide of some sort.
okay. Thank you.
Is essentially what he said.
Thank you.
Got that.
Okay. So from here, I mean, Tanzan and Bobby have long since left the room. The patron or the contemplators have gone back to their contemplation. None of them have been paying attention much to this conversation since the performance ended, which was to a chorus of applause, by the way. Absolutely everybody loved it. I just skipped over to Anatos there. But even with the cleric banging away,
Terribly.
It was a nice band.
yeah, it wasn't always been. You just didn't have somebody reading off their grocery list as lyrics.
Just bang away badly enough that it sounded intentional.
So Anatos says, "All right, well, you've earned your passage. Through the doorway there, talk to the Guardian. They'll let you through the portal. Have fun in Sigil."
Can we stay here and rest?
You want to stay and rest?
Are we able to have a...
Our accommodations are for Doom Guard members only. You would have to join this faction, which you're not joining here or now. Maybe in Sigil. The use of this facility is limited to members only.
All right, well,
YMCA
thank
bastards.
you.
So you get the sense that he was either going to tell you to bugger off back into the plane of dust or into Sigil, that you weren't staying there.
Yeah.
That it's not really welcome to outsiders.
Well, let's go then, I guess.
Get the fuck out.
Okay. This is literally the last scene here. So you are ushered through a bit of a tunnel into a smaller chamber. Everything again is kind of on the side. You see windows that are on the ground itself that are just covered, like filled in with dirt, as is part of the ground, and then skylights from the other end of the tower. In this room, there seems to be a plain wooden door on the far wall. The wall itself does not appear to have an actual doorway. It looks like this wooden door is just leaned up against the wall. There is a single guardian, another Doom Guard in very heavy set plate mail, very dark plate mail, who's got a giant halberd and a tower shield standing right next to this garbage looking door. Like it might as well be the door to an outhouse. Right. He's standing next to it, sees all of you approaching, knows that nobody would be allowed in here without special permission from, you couldn't get this far without permission. Steps aside, says, "Go ahead. You know how to use it, right?"
Nope.
Picks up a handful of sand, the black sand from the window that is cut out of the ground, like it's cutting into the ground, the exposed dirt itself. Picks up a handful of the black sand, says, "Just hold this. Walk through."
All right.
So
Pick
the
up the
group
black sand
decides to pick up some black. You take your turns, starting with Jinx. Picks up a bit of black sand, goes up to the door. You're still not sure what to do. He opens it for you. There's just a plain stone wall. He ushers you into it. You go up. As you approach, you get within a foot of it, and the black dust that you were holding in your hand that was kind of just falling about, slipping out of your palm real quickly, that it gets sucked straight into the wall itself, and for a moment, an area of about the same size and shape as the door seems to shimmer and become ghostly translucent. And on the other side, you see a busy street of people walking. You see just crowds of people walking. You have a sense that it doesn't last long. The guard kind of pushes you. You go through.
We're going into Harry Potter.
Everybody else follows suit. You grab a fistful of the sand, and you step through the portal onto the streets of Sigil. I'll give you one final description before we go on. Sigil is a very odd-looking town. Your sense of direction is immediately challenged. Everywhere you were to stand in Sigil would look like you're standing at the bottom of a valley. In that imagine if you were to take a donut and you were to build a city on the inside of a hollow donut. You have a ring city where it constantly curves around itself like this in a circle. So it's just the circular. You're looking up and you're seeing rooftops that if you were to walk, you could walk around. You could walk up the hill, up the horizon, and up and stand on the other side. You can see people walking above you.
So
it seems to curve on every surface. There's no sky. There's just city in every direction. And as a druid, you're feeling really claustrophobic right now. You see no nature. There's no plants. There's no bushes. There's just buildings and the thickness of people, smells galore. But something really odd strikes you, is that you're seeing all kinds of creatures, shapes and sizes and races, all occupying the street together in a somewhat chaotic bustle, but in harmony. There's no fights breaking out between the angels and demons that are bartering over the price of jerked meat. You don't have, that the illithid that is selling potions break out into all-out fights with the elven clientele. Everybody here, no matter what their persuasion, this is the most mixed bunch of creatures you've ever seen in the multiverse. And we end off episode 15.
I took one petal from that flower and I'm just holding
keeping it
and keeping
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Just keep it as
Good
just
for
like
you.
put it in your hair.